Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, the Cleveland Cavaliers have a new head coach. How about that?
Finally.
It's about damn time.
It took a long time. I think there's a reason for that. We'll dive into that. But finally, the Cavaliers have a new point man moving forward.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. We're going to get into the minutia of do we like the decision. It seems like this thing was all going in one direction, and in the last second, boom, it went a completely different direction. Mikey McNuggets, tell us the news, and I want to start with your thoughts on it because you've got intimate knowledge of these guys. What do you
we'll
think?
start with the Kenny Atkinson news, but first, a quick word from FanDuel. You guys know I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, but as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games. We do have a Game 7 tonight in the National Hockey League. We have a winner-take-all Game 3 in the Men's College World Series. And sports aren't sportsing like I want them to after tonight. That's a bummer, but FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball, the official sportsbook of the ultimate Cleveland sports show. You guys by now have seen the news. It was reported this morning by Adrian Wojnarowski that the Cleveland Cavaliers have hired Kenny Atkinson to be the team's new head coach. This comes on the heels of the Athletic reporting just an hour earlier that the two finalists were James Borrego and Kenny Atkinson, which we had all kind of known for the last couple of days. This has been a roller coaster ride. It's been about a month since the Cavs have fired J.B. Bickerstaff to reach this conclusion of Kenny Atkinson being the next head coach. He was previously on the Golden State bench. He's been an assistant there for the last few years. He's a former Nets head coach. He was with the Hawks earlier. The whole timing of this is interesting because, A, Kobe Altman initially said, well, we're not in a rush to have a coach before the draft.
Right.
The draft is on Wednesday. It was also interesting because, well, up until last week, and especially the middle of the week, all the momentum was in James Borrego's corner.
Seemed like it.
And then last Wednesday, the front office had meetings with Dan Gilbert. And then after that, we started seeing reports that the wind was now in the Kenny Atkinson sail. And you can read into that however you want. No one knows exactly what happened.
Let's go there. I mean, Borrego must have just absolutely bombed in his face-to-face with Dan, no?
Potentially, or whether or not they met face-to-face with Dan may have just wanted Kenny Atkinson. And when you're the owner of a basketball team or the owner of any team, you kind of get what you want. And to me, at least, I'm reading this as a Dan wanted Atkinson, Dan got Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, but
and it's not a bad hire. Whether
we'll get into that.
But it's a good hire because Kenny Atkinson's a good coach. But I do look into this as Dan Gilbert wanted Kenny Atkinson, so Kenny Atkinson, therefore, is the head coach of the Cavs.
Mike, all the wind was blowing in Borrego's direction.
Very strongly.
I mean, I literally heard that the announcement could be made last week.
Yeah, we was on
Like Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday. I heard Wednesday mid-afternoon. It's coming today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we was on Borrego watch. You know, for me, I see Kenny Atkinson, and I'm a dude who I said I liked him to start with. I thought that he would get the coaching job. It was the first name I threw out there. I just like the fact that, you know, he has some coaching experience. I think one of the things Dan Gilbert looked at was I felt like he also felt like Kobe Altman didn't necessarily have a plan in order and thinking about this thing through all the way from start to finish. Because you look at it, Donovan Mitchell was in flux, right? They didn't know whether or not they wanted to bring JB back or not, right? It took them a long time to even get rid of JB.
Sure.
So if
a week, he just dangled in the breeze.
I used to work. I worked in corporate America, right? And I would have a person that reported directly to me. They could be on progressive discipline, or they could have some different things with attendance. And my boss is looking at me because they're like, well, if that person ain't showing up, what are you doing about it?
Right.
If that person ain't getting it done, what are you doing about it? And the longer you let those individuals stay around, it makes you look like you don't have your control and pulse on the organization.
Right.
So I think that hurt a little bit, and I think Dan came in and said, you know what, nah, I'm going to be more involved in this. I was cool on autopilot when it seemed like you guys have everything together. I think they go and make the move because I think he wanted more stability in a guy who's done it before, and he respects the fact that he spent that time with Golden State.
How concerned are you? I know the talent was an issue, and your record is what your roster is, but it's hard to say it was a big upgrade when you look at what JB's read. Now, granted, JB had better ingredients here, but you're talking about a guy that in 4 seasons, Mikey, I believe he's like 60 games over or below 500, maybe worse.
Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he took over an atrocious.
I know he did, and he turned it around.
72 games under 500.
That's a ton.
It's a lot of games.
So now, we cut him some slack because that roster when he got to the Nets was, I'm pretty sure they were getting some of those dudes from Rucker Park.
No,
but
it was a G League roster.
But the amazing thing was the flip was I don't want to say it was, it wasn't timely, but I think they got in as the 8th seed, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the 7th seed in his last year.
So he played 4 seasons as the head coach of the Nets.
Yeah.
His first was 2016-2017, completely rebuilding team.
Abysmal.
20-62. The next season, 28-54, so an
8-game
improvement.
Good.
Third season, 42-40. They jumped 14 games.
Big jump.
And then they took a regression. He went from 42-40 to 28-34 in his final season.
Fired halfway or 3/4 the way through
60
it.
games in.
Yeah. What do you guys make of that?
I mean, for me, it's funny. I was joking with G. I said, G got what he want coming into this. I think we all had the assumption that James Borrego was about to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think Kenny Atkinson is a good coach. I guess my only issue was about the process of how we got here. Because if this was Kobe Altman and his staff coming together, going through all these interviews, and then they decided on James Borrego, and then Dan Gilbert stepped in and said, yeah, I don't care what y'all decided on. I want Kenny Atkinson.
And that's what it looks like.
That's what it feels like, and that's what I have an issue with. It's not about Kenny Atkinson himself. I think Kenny Atkinson did himself some favors by going to Golden State, being under Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr comes from a system, the triangle offense, right? Yep. He played in it. He understands it. He took a form of that system, took it to Golden State, and won 4 championships.
Yeah.
So Kenny Atkinson, who's a defensive-minded head coach, has spent the last three or 4 years in Golden State with him, learning in this system. Cool. I can get on board with that. The other pro that I can see, Jared Allen and Karis LeVert gave him a ring and endorsement. Yep. We know that Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen are like this. So that clearly tells me that Donovan Mitchell is on board with this as well.
Those are the dots I connect.
Those are the dots I connect. The only issue I have is the front office, the people that Dan hired, put in place, came to the conclusion that James Borrego was the guy. And because you felt differently about it, you said, no, I'm making you hire this guy. That's the only part of it that makes me uneasy.
Does it undermine Kobe to the point where he's the general manager puts his fingerprints on an organization 2 ways: draft and who he hires as the coach. Mm-hmm. Well, draft's been out of mix, really. Mm-hmm. He had a chance to put his fingerprints on this organization, and to me, I hope we get more information. I hope Kobe comes out and is actually transparent. Sometimes with these things, you never get the truth. If Dan called or face-to-face with Kobe and said, no, I know that this is your guy, but this is our guy.
Right.
Kobe's never going to say that.
Can't say that.
Can't say that. Dan might, but Dan is kind of a shadow owner now.
He's incognito right now.
He is. So we may never truly get the story for how this went down. And the problem with the lack of transparency is the media has blanks to fill in. And I know it's not our job to fill in what we don't know.
Right.
But that's where the opinion comes in. When we're journalists, we are to report fact. In the absence of fact, we theorize. And sometimes that gray area, because I'm not kidding you.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
I am. And I put the same
my crystal
dots
ball.
together. That's right.
My crystal ball, I see it.
So here's what happened. We were forced to fill in the blanks and to connect dots that we didn't know how got together.
Right.
I immediately said, because I got to tell you, I was shocked even this morning. I thought that we'd get the news of Borrego today or tomorrow. When I saw it, I immediately said, okay, so this is how this went down. This extension is going to be announced any moment, any day. He's staying here. Was there a backroom deal made between ownership or management and Donovan? Look, we've got to do everything we can to appease this guy. We know he came out last week. There's a method to madness when a player does this. He came out and said, I don't want Jared Allen to be traded. We're buds.
And now you go get Jared Allen's coach who refused to play DeAndre
Thank you.
Jordan over him in New Jersey.
So now we
Brooklyn.
automatically know, you really did give the keys to the castle to Donovan Mitchell. Now, I go back to Jim Donovan's take the day that JB was fired. You're making sweeping changes to appease a guy who's won exactly what? Remind me. And that's true. It's not Michael Jordan. It's not LeBron James. And we're seeing some pretty wholesale decisions that seem to be driven by Camp Donovan. That's fine. You better deliver. You better make it worthwhile. Don't give me another one-round win and out next year.
Yeah.
Like, we did a lot of things that you wanted. I think the JB thing made Donovan comfortable. Mm-hmm. I think if we keep Jared Allen around, I think that keeps Donovan comfortable. If we go with Borrego for the reasons we've theorized that we're going with Atkinson, then the evidence is mounting, and then Donovan stays here. Dan has sold his soul before, and it did lead to one championship. So let's get a second one. I'm good with all of it. I mean, my bar isn't high. I just want another parade.
And what it tells me, in the words of Metro Boomin and Future, we don't trust you.
Yeah.
We don't trust you. Hey, look, you had a nice opportunity. You had your fingerprints all over the moves. You had the Donovan move. You made the decision to get rid of Laurie Marketing. You made the decision that Darius Garland was going to get this max extension. You made the decision to go get Strussi Niang. You made the decision on all those things. But what it tells me is Dan is back in the building.
Yeah, but here's the thing with
cooking.
And
I believe that draft pick is coming from Dan Gilbert as well.
You do?
Yes, I guarantee that draft pick. He's like, yeah, this is a two-part program. We're going to get the coach, and then I'm going to pick who this player is going to be, too.
That will be.
Now again,
I don't think he's that involved.
We're assuming, we're giving our opinion. We don't know anything to be fact, but let's just say like it is one of those, okay, he doesn't really trust Kobe to make that decision. I think as fans, we don't really trust Dan Gilbert to make that decision. Because every time Dan Gilbert has went out there and handpicked the coach,
hasn't gone well.
It hasn't gone well. Mm-hmm. Just David Blatt. So,
John
I mean,
Beeline was the all-time worst. I know a lot of people think Blatt was worse. I think Beeline was worse.
The only saving grace that Dan has, they just show you how powerful winning is.
He spend that bread.
He spend that bag when it gets down to the get down, and he also does one thing that's dynamic. He's won. Like Dan Gilbert will do anything, including apologizing to LeBron James when they were on. They were on two different. They did not like each other.
No, you couldn't get the two of them in the same state. There was a real rift. But I always gave Dan credit because he swallowed his pride and said, "I need that one.
Yeah,
I need that one."
And
now there's another
time.
thing too. When this was probably my second to last or last year at ESPN, we did a deep dive on. There's two legacies of Dan Gilbert. There is the legacy with LeBron on the roster and the legacy without LeBron on the roster. Now, obviously, over the last 3 years, that legacy has got a little more shine on it. But his winning percentage without LeBron James on the roster as a Cavaliers owner was, I believe, .291.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of wild.
Think about that.
Kind of wild.
So LeBron is sitting over here going, I see you making all these moves, but you haven't done it without me. And it wasn't just lean years, guys. The .291 winning percentage would have qualified as the lowest winning percentage for any pro sports team within the last decade of when we did that research. So you have 2 Dan Gilbert legacies. Acceptable and probably short of expectations, but a championship with LeBron on the roster, and an absolute dumpster fire with absolute no success without LeBron on the roster. So Dan could be looking at this, if he is, and he knows that's the mark against him, this is his opportunity to do something without LeBron James on the roster. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I give him credit. He wants to win. He spends the money, and I think he stepped up and got involved in this particular decision, but I'm still not sure he's in the building, so to speak.
I know he ain't showing up to 10 o'clock meetings, sales meetings.
No.
Get ready for the 10 o'clock sales
For me,
meeting,
man,
guys.
How we doing on the east side sales?
Oh my God.
For me, I would really like to know. I would like to hear, Steve Kerr and his assessment and his opinion.
Well, he has glowing things to say
Kenny
about
Atkinson.
Oh, he loves
I got a chance to talk to Ethan Sands from Cleveland.com a couple times, and I wanted a coach in here that had a system and was good with player development, right? And when you talk about a system, we talked about this point earlier, the whole triangle offense, right? Steve Kerr comes from that triangle offense system. He won championships as a player.
Sure.
He took a form of that system with him to Golden State as a head coach after spending time with Popovich in San Antonio.
And won rings.
And he won rings with it, right? Kenny Atkinson.
Now, he had an all-time great roster, too.
He did. Kenny Atkinson, you could say the first go-around really didn't do that great, but he did turn around the Brooklyn situation. So I'm cool with him spending the years under Steve Kerr, learning the things that he's learned, and then he's getting a second chance. I think everybody deserves a second chance.
I like that.
It's not about Kenny Atkinson. I think Kenny Atkinson has the opportunity to be successful here with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs have a damn good roster. And if this is something that Donovan Mitchell signed off on, if he has a good relationship with Karis LeVert and Jared Allen, and we know that these players have a tight relationship, I'm cool with that too. Yeah. My only issue is what it feels like. Because of everything that we read and it was reported on that they had settled on Borrego,
right?
And the only reason Kenny Atkinson is the coach is because of Dan Gilbert. That just makes me uneasy.
No, it does me as well. Mikey has some basketball stuff. Before we do, we should try to get someone on from Golden State, a beat writer that can give us more on exactly Atkinson's role.
He was
under
the defensive
Kerr.
coordinator.
No, I know he was, but I'd like to hear someone who their version of Jason Lloyd. Somebody that can go
we could do that.
deep in the weeds and let us know what kind of person we're getting, what kind of guy we're getting, how he worked with Steve Kerr. I've only heard Steve Kerr say unbelievably glowing things about him.
People love Atkinson. Like whether
Seems
or not,
to be a popular guy.
Whether or not this was a front office decision, a Dan decision, a collective decision, the Cavs are getting a really good basketball coach in Kenny Atkinson. I think at the end of the day, we can pick and choose and fill in the blanks, as you said. I thought it was a great way to put it. How we arrived at this conclusion of Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah.
The reality is that the Cavs are getting a coach that, although the resume may not look like a direct upgrade over J.B. Bickerstaff, has the potential to reinvigorate this offense in ways that J.B. didn't. As soon as the news came out, I made 2 phone calls to guys who work in the league. And I was just like, hey, real quick, I spent a ton of time breaking down like Borrego stuff. I thought that was going to be the way they go. I spent way too much time watching 2021 Charlotte Hornets film. Now I got to go do it for the Nets and the Warriors, but give me something real quick. And they both said almost the same thing. They go with the Cavs last season. They ran a primary offensive option, some sort of set, some sort of motion, and if it wasn't there, they'd back it out and go pick and roll.
I hate
talked
that.
about 100 times on the show,
that's their
1,000
backfall.
times it was one offensive option afterwards. Well, if you go back to Kenny Atkinson days in Brooklyn, and Golden State did the same thing. So I know it wasn't his offense in Golden State, but they used the same principles. It's a motion-based offense that doesn't stop.
Right.
If your first option isn't there, it leads into a secondary option. It's a more complex offense than what we had seen in Cleveland the last couple of years. And you go back to what he did in Brooklyn. Once again, he was the defensive coordinator in Golden State, but he was in those rooms, in those discussions. Just because he's a defensive coordinator doesn't mean he has any say in the offense and didn't pick up things. If the first thing isn't there, then the second one comes around. If the second thing's not there, you go to a third option. Very rarely do you get into ISO situations or with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Hey, let's back it up and run a high pick and roll.
That's what the Cavs offense was built
So you're going to
upon.
see, regardless of whether it was Borrego, because Borrego had similar philosophies in that sense, whether it was Borrego or now it is going to be Atkinson, we were going to see a complete offensive change from a schematic standpoint and from an execution standpoint. Secondly, in Brooklyn, specifically in Brooklyn, he revitalized D'Angelo Russell, and they always played with two guards who could play on and off. Now, we'll see if Darius and Donovan can work.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And we'll see. He had D'Angelo Russell and a bunch of rotating cast guys. Spencer Dinwiddie was in there.
Yeah.
None of the guys he coached in Brooklyn, despite the fact they had success, D'Angelo Russell had the best season of his career in Brooklyn under Atkinson in this offense.
Yeah.
None of those guys have the talent level of Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland.
You're right.
So you would hope.
What do you think? Do you think he can make that work?
I have to look more into how he utilized those two. I spent, no joke, 4 to 5 hours looking at Borrego stuff. I spent
Right.
about 4 to 5 minutes this morning looking at Atkinson stuff.
It's tough.
I really thought it was going Borrego, so I don't want to give you an answer. I'll dive into that.
All right.
I'll have an answer tomorrow. But 2 numbers real quick that are going to make Cavs fans excited about this Atkinson hire. The offense under Bickerstaff was boring. It wasn't terrible, but it certainly was boring. In Brooklyn, he was the head coach for 4 seasons. They finished in the top 10 in pace all 4 seasons.
Oh, and that's
They
good.
finished first in pace his first year. They slowed down, but that's because they were terrible. The only chance they had to win was we have to score 140.
Right.
So they run.
Yeah.
He likes to run, so you'll see a more up-tempo offense.
What do you think
They
about that?
also
How that
ranked-
suits this roster?
With 2 bigs, you can't run. With 1 big, you can run.
Thank you.
There you go. The other thing, they ranked in the top 5 in threes in each of his 4 seasons. They like to run. They like to shoot. Spacing,
Mike,
running, and shooting.
so let me
the
ask
3
you this.
principles of his offense.
It's to me, the reason the Cavs offense is so difficult sometimes to create threes for players is because there's that lack of motion and movement, ball movement. I think that I don't know if it's a chicken or an egg thing. Like, do you shoot and make more threes because you're moving the ball around so effectively? And do you think that if he brings that ball movement offense here and we're swinging it around and there's a lot of options, that, in theory, should create space and more open shots, no?
It's hard to space the floor if you have 2 guys on the floor who can't shoot.
Because
Almost impossible.
There are ways to get more spacing, but it is hard. You saw the Boston Celtics play with Porzingis on the court.
Yes.
The entire paint is open because they have 5 guys on the perimeter.
I guess.
And you have to guard all 5. And Earl, hop in 1 sec. But if you have, for example, if Evan Mobley doesn't continue to improve as a shooter and you run it back with Jared Allen, you're not guarding those guys on the perimeter, which means you have 2 help defenders in the paint, which closes off driving lanes and just makes it more difficult. It closes the space. To answer your question, yes, ball movement helps with spacing and making shots. Having shooters who shoot more than 33, 34% from 3 also helps. And not going pick and roll heavy where everyone stands around. I don't believe that offense is sustainable to win at the highest levels. You look at Luka and the Mavs, that's the offense they played. When your role players shoot 60% from 3 in 3 playoff series, you're going to win everything.
You are.
If they don't shoot that, you're going to struggle against good defenses. We saw what happened against the Celtics. Or what were you saying?
I guess my question for you, what's your opinion on like how this will work out when it comes to player development? I mean, because another piece of this puzzle is the development of Evan Mobley, right?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you went there, Earl, because I honestly think that every time we have these discussions, regardless of who the coach is in the offseason, how are they going to make it to the next level? Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Every single time it comes back to Evan Mobley's got to be a shooter. He's got to get a shot. And we heard Kobe in his breakout news conference after the season was over
say that they got lost.
Say that, look, we definitely prioritized winning now when Donovan came into the family, and I don't see why the two have to be, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Why can't you continue to develop Evan Mobley while you win? Now, I understand, more things are going to go through Donovan Mitchell, but there's an off season, and that's when those things are worked on, and because it was made a vocal priority of Kobe to get back to the development of Evan Mobley, because all these conversations always circle around to one thing. Well, Evan Mobley's got to he's got to become a better shooter.
Let me read you a word-for-word quote from Adrian Wojnarowski's article on the Cavs hiring Kenny Atkinson. And I quote from Woj. Cavaliers president of basketball operations Kobe Altman and general manager Mike Gansby are especially eager for Atkinson's reputable player development program to impact young center Evan Mobley. Notice he called him a center.
Yeah,
Interesting. Very interesting.
I read that and it went right by me. I didn't really pull that out.
He has to develop. Atkinson is known. He made his his whole coaching career, he was a player development guy first.
Sure.
His basis of his coaching acumen comes from being a player development guy. He spent years as a player development guy. And if you look at the Nets, when he was with the Nets, he developed Jared Allen into a serviceable player.
Yes.
Karis LeVert had his starts there. The best seasons of D'Angelo Russell's career. Remember, they traded D'Angelo Russell to Golden State as the get back in the Kevin Durant move.
Right.
Like, that's how well he was playing at that point. Now he fizzled out, has never been that player again. His track record as a player development coach is pretty impressive. Now, I'll have to go through and do some more digging to see if he's turned a non-shooter into a shooter, which is the question with Mobley.
Yes.
If he's playing the 4, if he plays the 5, it's maybe not as crucial because you can play with one non-shooter. If he's your 5 and he's your non-shooter, you can get away with it.
It's easier, yeah.
It's easier. You want him to shoot, though. At the end of the day, we all want him to shoot more. He shot 37% last year. He needs to shoot 37%.
It's not even the percentage, it's the volume.
Exactly.
And Mike, let me ask you this. Do you think that because that was a great catch by you. I read it, went right over it. Didn't even stick out to me. Do you think that's Woj putting the word center in there, or do you think that's Woj repeating what he's heard from maybe Atkinson or others in the organization?
That's a
Beats
good
the
question.
hell out of me, man. I have no idea. Well, John Fanta's coming on in a few minutes, so we'll ask John Fanta, who, by the way, I have a great story to intro John when he gets on. I see him in the queue. John, you get audio. We'll get you in 2 minutes. Thrilled to have John on, but
he's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good hire. Whether it was a Dan move, whether it was a front office move, whether it was a collaborative, Kenny Atkinson's a good hire. And when JB got fired, Jay, when he got fired a month ago, the first name connected to the job, in the same tweet that Woj put out saying, breaking, Cavs have fired J.B. Bickerstaff, name to watch, Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah.
A month later, the first guy that was linked to the job is the guy that got it.
Yeah, Woj is always on. And the other thing that Woj a lot of times won't write how he knows, but I know after reading him and working with him and knowing him that when he puts something in there like that, he knows. It's his reputation, and he's right way more than he's off. Even sometimes when he's off, it's not that he's wrong. It's just that he's just was off on that particular thing. But you're right. When that first came out and he wrote that, I said, okay, he connects the behind-the-scenes dots better than anyone. He knows about the connection between Allen and Mitchell. He knows about the connection between Atkinson and Allen and LeVert. And he knows how all those teeth on those wheels come together and move the machine. So, yeah, you're right. A month ago, we should have listened more to him than the reports that it was going to be Borrego.
Borrego was the second name connected. So
He was.
It was 1 and 2. Very last thoughts before we bring in John Fanta. Earl, fan or not a fan of the Atkinson hire?
I'm a fan of the Atkinson hire. It was just
1 to 10. 10, you love it. 1, you hate it.
1 to 10. I give it about a 7 right now.
I'm a 7 too. G?
Man, I like it like a give me that 8-5.
Oh, you love
Give
it.
me that. And by the way, we talk about shooting. Hey, man, I'm looking for the development of one 6'9" player that can shoot the basketball that we just refused to talk about.
No, go ahead and say the name.
Go ahead.
You heard
Get it out there.
You heard it. Monty
Say
Bates,
it.
let's get it ready to go, dog.
Say it.
All right, I know
name.
we got to bring Fanta on, Fanta the homie, but if you saying that, man, watch Ty Jerome come back healthy. If Ty Jerome come back healthy, I think Ty Jerome going to finally make some noise this year for the Cavaliers as a backup point guard.
I love your consistency.
Ty Dollar Sign will play before Ty Jerome.
Hey, Earl, real quick.
Dollar Sign.
Our guy Mac Perry, who's been on the Ultimate Cavs show, he's been on Ultimate 216, puts out every bucket each player made this season. The video of Ty Jerome was 14 seconds long, just so you know. So that was the Ty Jerome highlight. He scored 5 points this year. Guys, we just spent 30 minutes on Kenny Atkinson. We're going to talk a little more about Kenny Atkinson with John Fanta. We may go live today, this afternoon, for an Ultimate Cavs show. Jason and I got to talk. We'll see if we can go live, get a little more information on the hire. We will definitely go live on Wednesday night after the draft. As soon as the Cavs make a pick, I'll be on the stream breaking down with instant reaction who the Cavs pick. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you can get all that. When we go live, you get a notification. You'll see me and Jason breaking down the Atkinson hire and more on the Ultimate Cavs show either today or tomorrow. We're going to bring on John Fanta now, one of our favorite guests. And, John, we're thrilled to have you on the show. I got to tell you what happened yesterday when you texted me, though. I was at the pool with a bunch of my buddies, and my phone was being used to play music. And my buddy John was like, ironically, John, not you, John, goes, hey, you got a text. I'm like, who's it from? He goes, John Fanta. I'm like, oh, John, read it. So he reads it, and John was like, I got to talk Guardians. I need to come on the show. I got to talk Guardians. And my buddy John goes, wait, is this the John Fanta? I'm like, yeah. He goes, how do you know John Fanta?
The John Fanta.
John, half my friends know what I do. Half of them know I do something in sports, have no idea what I do. I have never had more street cred than I did on Saturday afternoon when you texted me and my buddy was holding my phone. So I want to say thank you for making me seem way cooler than I actually am, John.
Wow, Mike. That is very humbling. I would have thought Jay Crawford or Garrett Bush. I wouldn't have thought Adam the Bull would get you the street cred, but I would have thought either of those first two. No, it's great to join you guys. And I know all of you, congratulations. Congratulations on the Emmy over the weekend. It is very well deserved. More are coming in your future. So thank you, fellas, for having me.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that at the end of the show, but a big day in UCSS history, John.
John is the first guest
Thanks
we've
for
ever had
recognizing
as an
it.
Emmy award-winning show. So
He just-
There you go, John.
Did you pull that out your book bag? It just came out of
Put
nowhere.
him on the table to start the show when the Atkinson news happened. So
I had a party going away party at the house yesterday for Laura Queso, and 100 WKYC employees were at my house, and I expected everyone that won an Emmy the night before to come with their Emmy to the party, because it's kind of a joke in TV that you hold it around with you for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But nobody had it.
Right.
Nobody had one, which I was kind of surprised. They all left them at home.
John, what do you think about the Kenny Atkinson hire, though? Let's start right away with that. Breaking news this morning out of Cleveland, and Atkinson's the new head coach for the Cavaliers, and I know you have some people connected to him in the past. What can you tell us about Kenny Atkinson? What are the Cavs getting?
Well, it's interesting, guys, because I'm home for me is always Cleveland, but I live in New Jersey now. So I call a lot of basketball in the northeast part of the country. So as a result, I end up working with a lot of people that work Nets games. Sarah Kustok, the Nets analyst with Iron Eagle on the Yes Network, she's one of my primary analysts that I work with and partner up with for Fox College Basketball and more. And for years, Sarah's told me about Kenny Atkinson. She's not the only one. People around the Nets that worked with Kenny, yes, you look at that record. But if you look at what Kenny was able to do with the Nets at one point, getting a young core of Jared Allen and of Karis LeVert going in the right direction, he is an elite player development guy. For those holes in his arsenal, when he was let go by the Nets, when they parted ways, there was a thought process in the league from people that I've talked with in recent years that wasn't his last stop as a head coach. He's a really, really well-liked guy in the league, has a great reputation. Then again, is Steve Kerr going to hire someone that he doesn't trust, that he doesn't think highly of? You have to account for that when you look at this hire. If there's an organization that Dan Gilbert has become, I don't want to say friendly with, guys, but more accustomed to knowing than others, it's the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are a world-class organization that has hired people that have written their history. The Cavalier fans out there, we all know what they are. I think that Kenny Atkinson, the thought process with this hire from Dan Gilbert, who made this hire, there's no question about that, is that Kenny Atkinson showed some good signs at one point as a head coach. Look beyond the record. He has just been the right-hand man to Steve Kerr. He went to training camp, if you will, on what to do in his next stop as a head coach. Has a terrific reputation, has connectivity with some of the Cavalier players, and you can't tell me that behind the scenes that there wasn't at least one conversation with Donovan Mitchell about this hire. Between his reputation in the league, his teams play hard. The Cavaliers need a new system. Kenny Atkinson just learned from a guy who's developed one of the best systems you will find offensively in Steve Kerr. That's why the stars align for me for Atkinson to be the head coach of this organization.
Can I quickly, John, drill down on something that you asked, or something that you said? You had mentioned that there's no doubt this is a Dan Gilbert hire. We had theorized that as well. The wind was going in Borrego's direction, and then boom, all of a sudden it changes. What do you know? What do you think happened? And what do you know from what you're guessing happened?
Well, Jay, I think that sometimes the winds can blow in a lot of directions. And we love theorizing, don't we? It's something that we all do, and it's these types of conversations wouldn't happen without us doing some theorizing. But remember that Atkinson's name was the initial name floated out there. Sometimes other names get brought into the equation. Look at the Lakers head coaching search recently.
Right.
To perhaps add leverage in different directions on different ends of the spectrum. Now, James Borrego says there's no leverage play there. It's not like he comes from some long lineage of success. But Atkinson was the initial name that was brought up. What do I think happened? I think the Cavaliers were honestly tangled up in this search, and Kobe Altman, Mike Gansey and company, in the middle of this search, know that the NBA draft is coming Wednesday. They had to get a person in place by the NBA draft. I agree with you guys. I thought Wednesday or Thursday of last week, we would have known who the head coach of this franchise is by now. But to me, Dan has the final say. When you've got a ring as well, I don't care how you got there. You can have the final say as much as you want. And I think that he looked at Atkinson's reputation, the fact that he's come from some winning. He's won a ring on an NBA bench, right? Might not have been the head coach, but you have to trust who you talk with. And I just think that Atkinson had more pull in this search for Dan Gilbert to feel more comfortable hiring him than he would have been with Borrego. I know that people's reaction is, well, how does Kobe Altman feel about this? Because Kobe Altman he wants control of the searches he makes. But I think Kobe Altman has lasted this long in Cleveland in the first place because he knows who the commander-in-chief is of the organization, and that's Dan Gilbert. Whether you want to hear it or not, that's the case. That's why Kobe Altman, because when J.B. Bickerstaff got fired, Kobe Altman, you could have made a case like, should people start to look hard at Kobe Altman's job status? But the alignment is there in that Kobe Altman knows who ultimately calls the shots, and he's okay with that.
John, I done heard this buzzword thrown around. I love it in the media. If one person say it, the buzzword just keeps growing. I heard Earl already today say development. Mike McNuggets say development. And you come in, you throw a little extra sauce on the Big Mac and say elite development. So when you're looking at this, I've always thought that the roster was a little bit flawed. However, do you think there's somewhere deep down inside where they're looking at it now and saying, well, maybe we don't need anything else. Maybe we develop Darius and all those guys and guys like that. What are your thoughts on staying pat possibly?
G. Bush, this is why I love talking with you and love talking with all you guys, but G. Bush gives us the extra dimension on this particular question because, in my opinion, it doesn't matter who the Cavaliers ended up hiring until they do something about the elephant in the room, which is their personnel. Okay? The biggest thing, in my opinion, that I cannot get over with this Cavaliers organization right now is not having to do with Donovan Mitchell. Jay, I loved what you said about Jim Donovan saying, what has he won? I get that. I also think Dan Gilbert and the Cavs brass are almost a little bit of a victim of their own success in that they know it's a star-driven league. They know stars don't just appear randomly, and they know Donovan Mitchell is still one of those stars and one of the best bucket getters. In my opinion, though, Darius Garland is the furthest thing from that. You're not winning. You're not going deep into the playoffs with Darius Garland as a lead guard. You're just not. I think he's better suited as a third, fourth, fifth type of option on a team. So I really love what you say there. I love what you say there, Garrett, because Kenny Atkinson's coming in to develop players, right? Kenny Atkinson's coming in to play differently, But I don't think in the NBA it is not as easy as playing differently. Your dudes are going to win for you. And the fact is, the Cavaliers, I think, heading into this year, still felt that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, not the same players, okay, not in the way that they play, could have a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown type of mesh on the perimeter, type of scoring at a high level, coexisting to a high degree. They both need the ball in their hands to flourish.
Yes.
Until the Cavaliers, I do not think that running it back with a new system is going to be the answer to their problems. If they think that, they're kidding themselves. The biggest problem I have with the Cavs is not who they hire as the head coach. Who they hire as the head coach doesn't matter if you don't figure out these other problems personnel-wise. My biggest problem is them putting out there in the public eye with no one asking for it they're trying to keep the same core intact and that they're not looking to move Darius Garland. What kind of messaging is that? He clearly isn't the answer. Why are you putting it out there that he's not on the open market? In my opinion, you're hurting his value. You're causing other teams to say, well, we can cross him off the list of people we're going to pursue. Why would you do that? I don't agree with.
All right, I'll tell you what I love is John Fanta with the flamethrower in his hand. That's what I'm talking
Slow
about.
clap.
Bring the no,
Exactly.
Bring the heat. What you're saying is what we've been saying, really, going back to last year, and then watching it kind of peak at points this year, and then bottom fall out. You know it when you see it, and unfortunately, it's not it. It just isn't. And you're right; they're kind of the same guy. And I don't think Garland can acquiesce to become the guy the Cavs need, so move on.
But they're not the same guy in the sense that that's disrespectful to Donovan Mitchell.
No, it is, but you know what I'm saying? Garland wants to be what Mitchell is, and he can't, not here.
Yeah, and I guess where I'm perplexed is this. I like the steps they've been taking organizationally. If you guys remember, Mike, I don't know if you remember this, we did an interview last year right around the draft, and I kind of brought up that I think that they should change some things up in the personnel department, and I understood the counter-argument was, well, they made great progress. Shouldn't they try to at least run it back once? I'm not going to fight with anybody on that. Like, I get why they did what they did this past year. But isn't the writing on the wall? I mean, let's ask Mike Holmgren how 5-year plans work. Okay, guess what? They don't. Let's ask any Cleveland executive that's ever worked in our town. Ask them how their 4 to 6 year plan went. Okay, it doesn't work. And you would think that Dan Gilbert and the Cavaliers brass, who, by the way, know what winning championships looks like. They know what a parade looks like. I think that these other pieces, I think if Evan Mobley, Kenny Atkinson is getting hired to unlock Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley's still young, guys. The best chapters of his career are still ahead of him. He is an incredible defensive player. I believe Kenny Atkinson and his staff can unlock more of a perimeter game, more shot making from Mobley. But let's acknowledge the fact that sometimes things don't work. I think Darius Garland can go be a solid option on a team or a good option on a different team. I understand that the counter argument is, well, you know, if you get rid of him, be careful what you wish for. The grass isn't always greener. But in the NBA, I'm sorry. I do not want to be in purgatory. All right? I'd rather be in hell in the NBA and figure out a way to get to heaven, even though that's not really possible. But I'd rather be in the bottom and then try to raise to the top, because the fact is, when you're stuck in the middle in the NBA and you're just trying to get up there, if you could get there, you'd already be there.
That's a great point. John, listen, I know that you texted Mikey yesterday and you said you wanted to talk Guardians, and then this NBA news broke and we had to go there with you, but we got you for 7 minutes on the Guardians. Just go. Like, what in the hell are we looking at? This team is they're outrageous.
This is the best story in baseball.
Yes.
Bar none. It is. In Cleveland, we should be talking about a parade. Yeah, you can dream. It's not unfair. It might be June 24th, but what's there not to like about this ball club? They have everything you want. They've got a young core of players. They don't have big egos. Their best player, who's in the MVP race, took a hometown discount. Start building the statue for Jose Ramirez. Right. They have another currently top 5 hitter in the game, in my opinion, in Stephen Kwan. They have one of the guys who, when he gets hot, in Josh Naylor, when he gets hot, he is scalding hot, and right now, he is just that. Do they have some questions to answer? What team doesn't? Yes, the starting rotation needs to figure some things out. Getting Gavin Williams back is going to be like making a midseason trade, but that's not going to be enough. I do believe they've got to find a way to get another arm and maybe get another bat, but they should go for it. What I don't understand is this, all right? We're talking about Dan Gilbert and Kobe Altman for a moment, and what's the alignment of the Cavs? We talk about the Cleveland Browns all the time. It looks like they've got alignment, but for years they did not have alignment.
Right.
The Cleveland Guardians, right? The only thing that had to change was the name. And over the weekend, when I tweeted out, there's nothing not to like about this team, and I still see replies from people who say they can never get it done in October, or I'm waiting for them to win a world championship. What do you mean you're waiting? Okay? We don't want you if you're waiting. This is the best story in baseball. Relish in the now, folks. This is beautiful what this ball club is doing. Stephen Vogt's the manager of the year. And to me, this team has everything you'd want in a Cleveland sports team. And a lot of people instantly came back to me and said, I'm not watching because of the name and the owner. The name, I'm not going to be able to fight with those people, win the argument. Those people are going to sit on their horses all day. And you know what? Good riddance. Goodbye. They represent Cleveland, Ohio. If you are going to get on the owner, I understand if you have been against him for not spending money in the past. That's fine. I'm not going to change that. I will argue for you on that till the sun goes down. But if the owner was that bad, how come his front office is aligned every year? How come his players love playing for the organization? The Cleveland Guardians are the best organization in the town. It's not close. And for how much they win, I think some of the town takes it for granted. Get on the wagon right now, right here, right now, and let's enjoy the heck out of this ride.
John, man, what's up, brother? It's been a while. Listen, the Guardians get a 3-game sweep over the Blue Jays. They hit 6 home runs in the process. This is a team that I think has one of the top 3 or 4 batting average collectively with runners in scoring position. This is a team that's right there at the top with scoring runs with 2 outs. You mentioned Stephen Vogt being manager of the year. What the hell did Stephen Vogt come in and do to this team that has this team playing the way that they are?
Earl, I think he came in and was his authentic self. I think he also talked quite a bit with Terry Francona. And I think he said, how do I keep this, what has been a franchise machine, how do I keep it going? Not how do I try to put some insane spin on it. This guy's like a player. I mean, we're watching footage right now. I just think that the Guardians were at a point with Terry where he had done everything he could and is a legend for it. He's a Cleveland sports legend, is Terry Francona. They just had to get a younger mind in and a younger guy who just created a fresh energy and buzz. Carl Willis is still standing next to Stephen Vogt. So clearly, Stephen Vogt liked a lot of what was happening with the Guardians. And I think that Chris Antonetti, Mike Chernoff, I think that Paul Dolan, I think everybody in the organization said, all right, how do we hire someone who doesn't mess up the apple cart to a crazy degree? How do we hire somebody that makes sense for our organizational viewpoint? Well, they crushed this hire. And no, I don't think it's too early, 75 games into his tenure. You could just see how well-liked he is. You can hear his answers post-game, and it almost sounds like sometimes we're listening to Tito talk.
It does. You're right.
It's like nothing has changed operationally. It's like that great restaurant that you've been going to for 25 years. Unfortunately, it was time for the guy who founded the restaurant to maybe retire, start playing some golf, start enjoying his life. And he handed it down, to his son or handed it down to somebody close to him. And this guy knows everything about the organization. Stephen Vogt was made to be the manager of this franchise. And what he's done, the most impressive thing that he's done with this ball club this year is who they are offensively. Guys, every time they go behind in a game, don't you feel like they can punch right back?
It takes us back to the mid-'90s. Yeah. Because even in 22, John, and that's a great point, they had a magical season in 22, and there were some great things happening. But you're right. I feel like if they're down 5-1, I'm okay. They've got some bats on this team where in 22, I did not feel like they were going to be okay in games like that. And it's incredible. And the alignment point that you made is dead on. It's like they went out. I'm going to date myself. There was an episode of the Brady Bunch where they needed a singer, and they got Greg Brady because he fit the Johnny Bravo suit. He just fit the suit. He wasn't a good singer, but he fit the suit. I feel like with Stephen Vogt, they got a guy who fit the suit, but who, by the way, happens to be a great guy cut from the same cloth as Tito. It's unbelievable how this organization does as much as it does with the checkbook that it has.
Absolutely. And they're 49-26, and the starting rotation has been probably average at the end of the day, would be the best way to describe it. Some ups, some downs. They're 49-26. All right, they just beat the Mariners 2 out of 3. They roll past the Blue Jays, who have now gone on a slide. Tonight starts a big test in Baltimore. This is going to be a really interesting series. But to start with Bybee on the rubber, he's been a machine. He's been absolutely phenomenal. They've got some things to figure out with their rotation. But guys, the fact that their bullpen's the best in baseball. I mean, you feel like when they go to their bullpen, these guys are going to get it done. Emmanuel Clase has become the best closer in baseball. That trade a couple years back, what a value it was. Bybee's been money. And their lineup. I mean, this offense keeps getting better. And they've got some decisions to make with that lineup. And they've, sending Manzardo down, I didn't love. But the fact is this. I just feel like at times we get very critical, not the four of us, but there's a sector that for whatever reason, they like chaos, right? They like problems to talk about and criticize. So then when a team has success, we don't know how to talk about them. Well, here's what can be said. Enjoy the heck out of this because you don't get 49 and 26 starts like this every year. I don't care if you're the Yankees or if you're the Dodgers, who you are. If they win tonight and the Phillies lose, the Guardians have the best record in the entire sport. It's fun. They're fun. And this franchise, to me, is one of the most undervalued in all of professional sports for who they are from top to bottom. And I'm glad they're from Cleveland because they're representing this city well. And I love to see it. The fans are responding. The over 100,000 over the weekend, that is great to see. This is an awesome Cleveland story, and summer's going to be a lot of fun, fellas.
It is. Attendance is up, not just up a little, it's way up. John, I wish we had more time with you. I know you have a heart out. You've got to go. But as always, it's great to talk sports with you. Great to see you. Thanks for the Cavs thoughts and the Guardians thoughts.
Hey, John, next time you're in town, pull up, man. Yeah, tell them pull up in studio next time you're here.
Yeah, when you get to town, let us know.
I would love to. I'll chat with you guys anytime. Thanks for having me.
We have a chair with your name on it.
Yes, sir.
John Fanta.
I appreciate that, guys.
Fanta. Thanks, John. We're going to keep our Guardians discussion going. A quick reminder, though, that the Ultimate Guardian Show happens on Mondays. This morning, Bull and Zach went 50 minutes, 10 minutes for each of the Guardians' 5 wins in a row. It's on our YouTube channel if you want to hear us talk some guards. Stay tuned. If you want to hear more guards after we talk guards, go check out Bull and Zach from this morning. Jay, we mentioned it with John, but the Guards have won 5 in a row. They've won 25 of their last 35. They swept the Blue Jays in front of a record. Not record, that's a lie. A sellout crowd is what I meant to say.
Yes.
Essentially in back-to-back-to-back games. This team's red hot. They're hitting home runs left and right. For the panel, how in the world can you explain this home run surge the Guards are on? And it can't just be a new coach. It can't just be that, can it?
No, it is
that simple, Jay, Earl,
no.
G?
I think it can. I think it can be that simple. I think that Stephen Vogt is a guy that just got finished playing baseball 2 or 3 seasons ago. That clearly came into the situation with the plan in place. A plan in place, and he also hired the right people around him to help execute that plan. I think that everything that he's done since he's taken over as the Guardians manager has them with the second best record overall in baseball. And it's normally mind-blowing when you do things like this with a rookie manager. But in this situation, when you got a guy who just got finished playing, and you got to consider that he actually played, I believe, I don't know if he played or not, like under the new rules that's in place now, but he has vast knowledge of what the rules is. I just think he came in here, man. John said he might have talked to Tito. He came in here with his own plan in place. The players brought into what that plan was, and then you see them executing it on a normal basis. Now, as far as the power surge, and they hit 6 home runs against Toronto over this last 3 games. I heard Andre Knott talking about it on a broadcast. We all know it's hot as hell outside. Yep. And the ball was just simply carrying further and further.
I saw it in my game Saturday.
We know with the renovations.
Just screaming off the bat.
But I think it can be, Mike, as simple as Stephen Vogt is in here with a plan, and they are executing the play to perfection, seems like.
I think it's a 3-part program. One is the fact that and when you construct ballparks, teams traditionally construct ballparks around their team and what they're known for. Like if you're
Yankee Stadium, the short porch in right field,
Colorado, all that good stuff. So I think that's one thing that they're finding out. Hey, we might want to keep this going. We might do a couple more renovations out there as well to see if we can get this thing to keep going out the jet stream. 2, they have organizational commitment to turning things around, and they found out that they was just backwards. Like, this is welcome to the 2024 baseball. The Guardians were backwards for years. They tried to do it a different way than everybody else was doing it. They figured out, yeah, you can't win by just playing that way. And so they're like, okay, let's change the way we have our approach. And then 2, or last but not least, they got the horses. Jose Ramirez, healthy this year. He had the wrist thing last year. Naylor is showing you more power. He's coming off one of his better years last year. Quan is hitting the ball great. And the thing about baseball is when you start to get people that are in your lineup that are hitting around you, now it becomes more difficult to pitch around certain guys. You can't just pitch around Jose, right? If Jimenez is hitting the ball well, that helps out. And if Quan's getting on base, which he's been doing a lot of, now pitchers have to change the way that they're pitching to the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters. So I think it's a combination of all that stuff. But I just honestly think they are locked in, and they're batting, and for the first time in a lot of years, they're going up to the plate aggressive. They're not going up to take no pitches. They're going up there to put the ball in play and to be aggressive. And when you're aggressive, that puts you in a different mind state than when you're just up there trying to figure out and take pitches and have everybody look at, like, hey, we got to see a lot from that pitcher. Nah, give me
You
some
know what
hits.
else changes a mind state of mind is the atmosphere. When the Guardians were wrapping spring training, this was their last day of just full team workouts. The next day they were going to play their first spring training game. And the mood changes dramatically when that happens. When you're in there, especially with a new drill sergeant, it's boot camp. And I was watching them go through drills that I know they weren't enjoying. It was Stephen Vogt actually changed the way fielders call one another off. It's always been, I got it, right? Mm-hmm. They were doing drills where they were saying, get out. Like the guy that, instead of saying, I've got it. So they were just little things that they were changing in the system, things that they rely on every day. So it's boring. By day 10 of that, you're like, let's just start playing games, even though it's spring training games. As they wrapped up their team workouts and the next day was their first spring training game, Stephen Vogt did something that you cannot overstate how important it was to the team. It was a water slide. Water slide. When grown men hear water slides, what do they automatically think of? Oh, I used to do that when I was a kid, man.
Right.
Those things were fun. He's got, on one of the adjacent fields, 100-foot water slide, 200 feet, whatever it was, and everyone in the organization was going to do it. And when I say everyone, Chernoff did it, Stephen Vogt, they all did it. And what was crazy about it was, and I'm standing there with my producer and cameraman, and we're watching this, and it was like I was at a 5-year-old's birthday party. The laughs, the cheers. Some guys didn't have such good form with the slides. They were getting drilled. I'm talking everybody was taking off their shirt or gearing up to do it, and they were hitting a water slide. And I looked at my photographer, and I go, man, I haven't seen an atmosphere like this in a pro training camp maybe ever. He made it fun. Do we have the clip of video of what happened after the game Saturday night at
With
Progressive
Shaq?
Field? Do we have that? Please, I hope we have
I can
that.
get it in. I did not put it in.
All right, if
but
you
yes.
can pull that in while I'm talking, and then let me know when we have
Who
it.
has a concert? That's
Shaq
crazy.
said, Cleveland, I'm home.
So, by the way, could Shaq get any cooler?
Man, listen.
like this dude, he does ride-alongs with cops.
Yeah, man.
He's just like, he might be one of the coolest professional athletes
Of all time.
Of all time.
We need Shaq on our show.
And by
Oh, my God.
And by
We
the
need
way,
Shaq on our show.
and then he drops his classic record with Biggie Smalls. He just dropped another. Shaq is the best rapping athlete of all time.
Here it is. Okay, so I hope this is the
You
clip
think Shaq
where
a better rapper than
there's
Dame
Guardians players on the
Damian
stage.
Yeah,
And
there's
is
Carlos
this the part where
Carrasco.
Tristan McKenzie takes the mic? Is this the part?
No, it's just a little 20-second.
Okay,
clip.
there's
I
a
don't know
clip.
the exact video you're referring to.
Yeah, there's a clip with Tristan McKenzie on the mic and Shaq in the background. And I first saw it as a still. I later saw it as a video. And I thought, okay, that's the image of my season so far. Because we try to explain things that we can't explain sometimes. I've always said the most important element of any team, football, basketball, soccer, I don't care what it is, if it's a team sport, there is one element that all winning teams must have. You can't buy it. It happens organically. I'm talking about chemistry. They took the head chef out of the room in Tito. And we all thought, uh-oh.
This could be good.
Dude's the glue.
Could get ugly.
Here we go. It's going to get sideways real quick. And they went out and they found Tito 2.0. Younger, more energetic, fresher ideas, new voice, same fun, same seriousness. Here's what I mean by that. When you were the boss, you were either a cool boss or you were a D.
Yeah.
Okay? And everyone in the shop knew it. The toughest thing to do as a manager is to find that gear where you're both cool and you can crack the whip. You can get serious when you need to be serious. I always say upstairs, I work in the toy store.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the toy store. Everybody wants to talk sports. Everybody wants to have fun. But when there's a job to do and we got deadline, we got to, okay, it's time to work now. And he has already managed finding that gear because he was a player so recently. You mentioned it. He comes in, he played against all these guys, except for the rookies and the second-year guys. He knows them. He's one of them.
What's impressive is he's able to do it. One of the things is, if you go from, I went from being like an associate to a manager, and then you're like, okay, you have to somehow flip that switch.
That's hard to do in the same organization, by the way.
Very hard to do because
you're looked at as, oh, he's cheap, but he cool.
He cool. Like
that happened to me at the Justice Center.
Then when you go from worker bee to boss, everybody's like, oh, you ain't my boss.
Hey, come on.
Come on.
I used to clock out early with you. Now you telling me not to clock out?
Exactly.
You know what it is. You better stop playing.
But with this guy, he knew these guys have worked hard. They need a reward. They need galvanized. I'm going to bring out a water slide.
It's not just the chemistry, though. And, Jay, you said this when you came back. You said that you asked a lot of people that you talked to what would make this a successful season at the end.
Yeah.
And he was the only one who told you
World Series.
World Series.
Yep.
He's been talking World Series since training camp.
You're right.
And everybody in Cleveland, including me, probably all the fan base, like, man, this dude just saying whatever. He'd have lost his damn mind.
You're right.
But this team, along with the chemistry, they have the confidence to go with it as well. They legit believe they can go win a World Series right now this year.
It's astute of you to bring that up because I'd forgotten about that. But at spring training, I did 25 interviews. I talked to almost all of the everyday stars, and I asked the same question at the end. At the end of 2024, this is a successful season if. And everybody, if we stay healthy, if the pitching can return to form from 22, if the bullpen can carry over success and get it back to like what we had in 22. Everybody had a different answer. Some mentioned, well, we'd like to play in October. Only one person that I asked that to said World Series.
I've now moved the needle.
He embraced it.
I moved the needle, Jay. Not only do they need to make a move, they need to make a blockbuster move. I want them because I want to.
Because we're that close.
You have an opportunity right now to get it done. And sometimes people don't think that they're going to get it done. They just like, oh, this is a nice story for now. But when you signify that you really in it and the organization is behind you by going to get a blockbuster deal done, that now galvanizes you to a point where now it says, hey, guys, we believe in you just like this ain't just a cute story.
Right.
We smell blood in the water. We can get it done now. Fanta said they got everything they need. They have everything they need to win the division and be a nice story. But I don't think they got everything they need to beat the Yankees in a championship series. I don't think they got enough.
I think it would go a long way in cementing the fan base confidence as well. But I think a lot of fans, I ain't gonna say a lot, but there are some fans who they look at this and they are excited about how well the Guardians are playing, are excited about us being one of the 3 or 4 best teams in baseball, etc. But there is a portion of our fan base that believe the bottom is going to fall out, or the Guardians are going to get
Well,
to the.
they've been Cleveland sports fans for a long
Right.
time, and that's usually the last chapter of the book.
Exactly. And so if the Guardians can go out here and make a blockbuster move or make a quality move or two, I know Bull has mentioned the pitcher numerous times from the Marlins. A guy
He just got
that.
put back
Yeah,
in
no,
the
he's not an
injured
option now.
list.
He
Okay,
can't
okay.
stay healthy, and
But-
I've read a lot where they're not moving him.
I'm in that with G. I think at this point, you have no reason not to. You have no excuse not to. You got a rookie manager that has a team with one of the best records in all of baseball. You told us that you was putting this young ass team back out here to see what they can do, right? Okay, I got to give you your kudos. So far, they've proven, but we still need holes. We still have holes. We still have things that we need to get fixed and assess. And I think you do yourself some favor by rewarding this team who's played so hard and worked so hard by going to get a piece or two to help them go win a World Series.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do a blockbuster. I'm with you. Like, life is short, and you don't know how often you're going to, like, the 95 Indians. I'd have to go back and look. The mid-90s Indians. I don't know if this late in the season they were still going 2 for 1 on the wins to loss ratio. I mean, they're not quite there. They'd have to win their next 3 to be for a 2 for 1. But that's very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
It's literally like, a hitter to hit 400. You go 1 for 3, your average is going down. You go 1 for 4, man, you really take a hit. Well, when you're trying to win 2 for 1, you've got to win every series. And that's really, really, really difficult to do. They have, for the most part, done that. It's very few series where they've just gone out there and been flat for the whole thing. A blockbuster would be great, but even do what the Rangers did last year. The Rangers were like, we're in. The Rangers are funny. They were a funny study last year because Houston owns the state of Texas when it comes to baseball. They always have. And they'd had recent World Series success, and their roster looked like they were going to come back and win it again. And Texas was like, you know what? We're sick of being the little brother. We're good, and we're in a good spot in July. We're going to go in and we're going to make some big moves that we think are going to bolster our team, and we can win a World Series. And they did it. Is it sustainable? Well, they certainly haven't kept it up this year. But the Guardians are in a position with some of these prospect pieces they still have to go out and get the 2 pieces they need to get. I will say, 2 weeks ago, I thought shortstop wasn't getting it done. Right field, I still had questions, but Will Brennan has really come a long way. Freeman, I would like to have more out of his bat. Bo Naylor, I would definitely like to have more. We flip our roster at the 6th spot, which is too early.
Yeah.
You get to 7, 8, 9, and pitchers are exhaling. And I've seen in the last couple of weeks since I've been talking about this more, where it's come to fruition. Oh, a couple of guys on. Here comes the 6 hitter. They work around the 6 hitter, load the bases, knowing that 7, 8, 9. Let those guys beat you. Don't let the best hitters beat you. That is a weakness. That 7, 8, 9 in our rotation has got to get better. Hopefully, the guys that are currently on the roster will improve. Bo Naylor, Rocchio, and Freeman, and those guys will pick up their average a little bit. But right now, when you get into a meaningful game and a meaningful series, if I'm the opposing pitching coach, I'm telling my guys, we can work around the 3, 4, 5 hitters. If they get on base, the 7, 8, 9 aren't going to kill us. So they've got to get better there, and they definitely need another arm. I thought John's point, the best point he made on the Guardians was our staff, if you're giving them a grade for the season, probably a B-, C+. If you throw in the Bieber injury, it's a C.
Right.
Because we lose our Cy Young quality pitcher. Tristan has not been everything we wanted him to be. Ben Lively's doing it with smoke and mirrors. This guy did it again over the weekend. He's doing it with smoke and mirrors. Cookie. I didn't see that start.
Wait, Cookie started Friday, right? It's to your point about the 6 through 9 hitters. I think it was the Friday game.
It's really 7 through 9.
7 through 9.
After 6, I'm not afraid of those guys.
Toronto's pitcher get the first 3 guys out first inning, right? And he's walking everybody in the second inning.
Yeah.
And as we got lower in the lineup when these dudes were coming up to bat, I'm watching the TV like, just don't swing.
Yeah.
He's not throwing
Take a
strikes.
walk.
Do not swing the bat.
Yeah, that's it.
Just,
right.
Just don't swing. Make this dude throw strikes at you.
We'll wrap this point up. I wish that he would get back to me. My favorite researcher during my entire time at ESPN. He's now with another network. We have a great relationship. I still throw him things that I can't find. The thing I'm trying to find, I'm doing a deeper dive on why the ball's flying out of Progressive Field, I can tell you that home runs are definitively up, both for the Guardians and the visitors. They're 26-9 at home. One of the reasons they're that 26-9 is because they're hitting home runs. I know I threw it out there as a theory because I've talked to a number of guys that say the ball is absolutely flying out to right field like it hasn't before. It was a solid wall with those shipping containers. Now it's a breezeway. They've opened that up, and there's open air that goes through there. What does that create? A wind tunnel. You get the ball up in the stratosphere, and it is flying out to right. My guy Evan is doing a deep dive on home run rates for both the Guardians and the visitors this year compared to a number of years going backwards. And I can already tell you the anecdotal evidence and the early returns on that report are that, yes, there's something to it.
I cannot wait to see the results.
There's something
of
to
that.
it.
And the Guardians aren't done, by the way. They're going to play the Orioles coming up. We're going to talk about that in 1 sec. In what is the biggest series in baseball up to this point in the year. Before we talk about that, if you want to bet on the Guardians-Orioles series, which starts tonight, you better be using FanDuel to do so. You guys know I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games. And the sports, well, they're just not sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets at any time when I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We had on the rundown to talk about the Guardians' home field advantage. We're going to save that for the next time the Guardians come back to Progressive Field because they are about to start a 3-game set with the Baltimore Orioles in a matchup of 2 of the 5 best teams in all of baseball. Right now, as of today, the Philadelphia Phillies have the best record in baseball. The Cleveland Guardians have the second best win percentage in baseball. And there you have the Baltimore Orioles in 4th place, just a fraction of a percentage behind the New York Yankees. Jay, as we get ready for this series, Earl G, you guys as well, it's about to be a dogfight between 2 of the best teams in baseball, and I cannot wait to sit back and watch some terrific baseball over the next 3 days. Are you guys as excited for this 3-game set as I am?
Thrilled. And I love that Bobby's going in game 1.
Yeah, set the tone early.
Set the tone.
Go
Get the
set the tone
dub.
early.
When you're on the road, if you can start the series with a win, now you're playing with house money. You got 2 to win 1 to take the series. I like our chances to do that. Baltimore's a great team. It's another big test. Some of these tests we've passed. Some of them we've failed. The Yankees they gave us some trouble this year. But I can't wait for the series because we're going to see 2 of the best in the American League, and we're almost halfway through the season, and they're still chugging along. The Guardians are still right there.
This Orioles team is a team that can really put some runs on the board. I think they average the most runs scored in all of baseball right now. They have the most runs scored, and I think that they're right behind the Guardians with runs scored with 2 outs this year as well. And so
I think they might be. I
think the Guardians are 1, the Orioles are 2.
But they number 1 when it comes to 2-out home runs as well. The Orioles are.
So when you look at them, man, I mean they clearly are a threat, a powerhouse, a team that possibly can go, try to compete for a World Series as well. I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for or most excited about is, to me, we've seen the Cleveland Guardians kind of play down to some opponents, the White Sox and the Rockies. But when they play a team that's on their level, they are always up for those type of games. It's kind of like, they ready for whatever when they play a team that's damn good just like they are. And I'm excited to see them come out there with another test tonight and actually pass it. I think they get the win tonight, and I think they'll win the series. I really do.
We're going to see what they talking about. This one, I like. See, these the games I like. That's cool. You got the Jays. You got them at home.
Right.
That's nice.
Jays got a nice roster. They've underachieved.
I like that. But these are the games I'm looking at. All the rest of that stuff, I like marquee games. I'm going to see what you're talking about. You on the road this series. You on the road against the Royals coming up. You got the best of them in the last couple of times. I'm trying to see what you're going to do. Because if you want to win a World Series, we like to talk about World Series all the time. Which one of your pitchers is going to step up on the road and get that win? Because it's cool when it's cold and you got all your little white flags waving or red flags in your pennant games. But what are you talking about when you got to go on the road and you got to play and win you a game to close somebody out? These are the games I'm trying to see because the Orioles are a contender. You got the Kansas City, and you got a chance to put after this series. You got a chance to really put Kansas City away. You can really get them off the books. Really, they already 7.5 games. If you go in there and do what you can do with them,
I think they're 9 now, right?
Oh,
Kansas
yeah.
City. The Twins are now in second place.
See, you can get them off the books. So, but this game, I'm going to see what it's going to be. I'm looking at. I think I know what I'm going to get from the bats. I think I know what I'm going to get. The question is, can I get that premium Bobby? Can I get the 7-inning Bobby with the electric stuff and the pitches moving all over the place?
I think he set a strikeout total in his last 2 starts. Mm-hmm. 2 starts ago he had 11, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, last time out,
I thought he had 12
he broke
last
that
time
and had
out.
12.
Yeah, he had 12 last time out.
So he's become a real swing and miss guy. Mm-hmm. And you love the fact that the rotation is set up for him to get the game 1 start. They're going to need another arm, but I keep thinking, is it 11:59 yet? Are we going to turn back to Cinderella, or are we going to stay the princess of the ball?
It's so unreal to you. You've experienced this and watched this for so long. It's kind of like.
And John was critical of Cleveland sports fans. He's like, you guys are always waiting for the thing to fall apart. You got to not be there,
But John's one of us. He is too in the back of his mind.
But he's younger. I'm like, bro, I'm 58 and filled with scar tissue. I've seen it all. I've been to Game 7 of the World Series in '95 and watched us losing extra innings. That was '97 in Miami. I was at the '95 Game 6 when they lost to the Braves. I was at the 2016 World Series when in Game 7 extra innings they lost to the Cubs. We've been there. The older the Cleveland sports fan, the more cynical we are. But and I just keep saying, is it almost midnight?
I had a very strict mother. I had one of those, the street lights is on, you got to be in the house. If it's a school night, I had to have the TV off by 9:30, whatever the case may be. Game 7 of that '97 World Series, man, I did whatever I could I need to stay up. I need to watch this. And I used to be so invested in sports. I used to cry when my team
That was your first love, wasn't it? Was the '95 middle?
I cried so hard when they lost that World Series.
I've been there, bro.
Like, it hurts. I remember, like, getting my truck all washed up, like, getting an outfit ready for 2016. I'm about to go downtown like I just did in the summer for the Cavs. It's about to be lit. Didn't happen. And so I think here in the city of Cleveland, like, there are times to where we be like, man, it feels too good to be true. But there are always. But you got to step in it. You got to walk in it.
There are always teams that you played on, or I've played on. I remember in 19 we played. Now we played Chuck Kyle prime teams, not the latter, not the 05. We talk about the prime Ignatius. And listen, there was just this feeling that, like, we hadn't beat them before. And we came close the year before, but we was just like, no, we're just not going to lose this year. And everybody, for some odd reason, just believed that we weren't going to win. And we went on like a tip pass, some miraculous type stuff. Like, you just was on a team. You was just on a baseball team. And y'all was always coming up short. You was like, we ain't win this championship.
You almost expect to, because you always do.
But last year, you was like, hey, before the game, you was like, hey, we're going to play. I'm pitching this game. Guess what? We gonna win that game.
So was it like this for y'all when y'all used to play Maslin?
Yes, it was like this was y'all not beating us.
What was the chemistry like on that team that won the national championship?
Man, I still talk to him to this day. Like, I can see him anywhere. We talk to each other.
It was just different.
It was just different. Like, we just felt like when we won the national championship, we felt like we beat anybody. Like, it just didn't matter. Like, and so when you look at the Guardians, right, and they say, well, when is it gonna wear off? Man, sometimes it just don't wear off.
It's just that type of year.
Right, so some people done, your college girlfriend, right? You be like, when is this going to wear off?
But see, the reason that we're waiting...
just didn't wear off. I married her.
The reason that we're waiting is because in the magical seasons of all of our lifetimes, 95, 97, and 16, the clock did strike midnight at 11:59, and Game 6 to the Braves, an all-time great effort from Glavine in Game 6. In 97, it can't strike midnight any closer to midnight. It was a walk-off hit, in the 10th inning or 11th inning, whatever 97 was. It was extra innings. And the same in 16. Extra innings. Now, the only thing different in 16 was we did get a last at bat. But
with the last guy on our bench, I think it was.
Last guy in the world. So in typical Cleveland fashion, it's the biggest at-bat in Guardians history. Who you got? I don't know. Some dude I don't even know.
I can't even remember his name.
I can't either.
That's crazy.
But we know Rajay Davis forever and ever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
They should have started Danny Salazar in that one game in Chicago instead of trying to force Kluber. I get it, Salazar was coming back off an injury, but
it's a tough call.
You was throwing something. To me, you would have been throwing something at Chicago that they hadn't seen.
Well, in 97, the question was, do you go with the kid or do you go with the more veteran pitcher?
You leave Nagy in the damn game. That's what you should have did.
Well, when Nagy, he came into Game 7. He wanted to start Game 7. They went with Jarrett Wright. He wanted to start Game 7 and thought he deserved to pitch Game 7. And they ended up bringing him in out of the bullpen, and he wasn't good with that decision, and a lot of fans still aren't.
The thing we're missing here is, and I think either Andrew Barry, Kevin Stefanski said it. He said, look, you guys got to understand, yes, it's Cleveland. But these kids don't know nothing about no. These kids come from it.
They don't know any of that.
They don't know that. They're like, so?
No,
like,
and we're projecting it onto them.
Yeah,
you're right. They don't think about it.
I'm from Oklahoma, and I was born in like 2002. Like,
yeah, they don't know.
Like, they're like, I don't remember 1997 might as well be like 1948.
You're right.
That Sunday, January 2002, as I'm watching football before I start preparing myself for school, Dennis Northcutt drops that pass. We don't beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. In that moment, you couldn't have told me that the next time I see the Browns play in the playoffs or win a playoff game, I'll be a grown man with kids.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have told me that. And
I hope for you and I hope for the younger fan base that it doesn't become what it's become. You alluded to this last week. My mantra, really, before the Cavs, I was just like, just one before I die. Just one. Because I was born in 65 and their last championship was 64 before they called it the World Series or the Super Bowl. So I just kept saying, just give me one. Just give me one. Now I'm getting greedy. I'm like, okay, so the Cavs was cool and all, but like I'm a bigger Browns fan than I'm a Cavs fan, and I'm a bigger Guardians fan than I am Browns or Cavs. So now I'm like, okay, now I just need one from each team.
Yeah.
So you get it, you be good.
So you get it. 2016, like I said, we just won an NBA championship. I'm going into
I thought we were going to get 2 in 4
I'm going
months.
into this Game 7. There's no way in the world we're not about to win the World Series. I've seen 2 World Series before. Third time's the charm, right? It has to be this way, right? Wrong.
And we had to be against the Cubs, too, who had a longer drought.
That damn rain delay,
And
man.
little did you know, the crazy part about it is you didn't know that you was going to lose the World Series. And then the next year, you were going to lose Kyrie Irving. And then the next year, LeBron rolled out when you thought he was staying for the second
struck
time.
midnight. Cleveland sports clock struck midnight.
And the Guardians was just like, yeah.
The Browns had like 2 collective wins over that time period.
That's crazy.
Well, I hope everybody in town stays behind this team because the attendance over the weekend was absolutely phenomenal.
Looking good.
Seeing Shaq with like members of the team on the stage having fun, that is the image for me that, like, we try to explain the unexplainable all the time in sports. We don't know, well, why, how? We don't know, I don't know. In this case, there's the magical elixir of chemistry is mixed in with this 25. And what happens when you do that can be magical. And that's what we've been watching, and I hope to God the clock doesn't strike midnight.
We're going to pivot, go back to the Cavs for a sec, but a quick shout-out to everyone who signed up for the UCSS newsletter. If you're not and you want to, you can text the number on the bottom of your screen there. Or wrote an article this week. There's a top 5 on the best left fielders in Cleveland Guardians history, and our member of the week is Guards 16, I believe is the name. Guard 16, shout out for being a member. Since the inaugural memberships launched in October of 2022. So if you're not a newsletter subscriber and you want to be, there you have it. Text the number on your screen. All right, guys. The NBA draft is on Wednesday. Raise your hand if you knew that. Good. Raise your hand if you have done enough prep to feel confident who you want the Cavs to draft at number 20. There we go. So we're going to do this a little differently today. I decided to take the prep work out of your guys' hands.
Thank you, Mike.
And we're going to play the blind dating game for Cavs prospects. And here's how it's going to work. I'm going to give you a blind resume of a prospect that could be there at number 20 for the Cavs. I have 10 of them. Before we go any further, there are more than 10 options that the Cavs could be considering. I didn't want to go 50 deep and then spend 50 minutes on this, so I picked 10 that have been either mocked to the Cavs, linked, they've brought in for workouts. These are guys that at least have been connected
There's
to
smoke
Cleveland
around these
throughout the
guys.
draft
There's
process.
smoke around these guys.
There's a chance that the Cavs draft someone who's not on this list.
Right.
I am well aware of that, but I didn't want to take the entire show doing this, so I picked 10 I thought fit what they're looking for or could fit what they're getting at number 20. So I'm going to give you a resume. You guys are going to write the score on the resume of that player, 1 through 10. You can do halves. You can do 7.2 if you want, whatever you want.
Are we going to know? No.
And Anthony's going to track it.
Okay.
At the end, I'm going to tell you who your highest score is for. So
Okay.
behind a blind door, we're
I
going
like
to go
that.
through all 10.
I like it.
And then I'll be like, all right, Jay, candidate 6 was your highest score. That is player X. Earl, you like candidate 4 the most. That is player X, and so on and so on. So, once again, there are more than 10 players the Cavs are potentially going to draft. There's a chance they draft someone who's not on this list, but these are names that have been tied and connected to the Cavs. So, Steve, are you ready to play a little blind dating game? Let's do it. I'm going to give you some stats. I'm going to give you some prospects. So I'll give you some information on the players and a little music at that. So, the first blind resume. This prospect was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He's 20 years old. It's a stretch big. A 2-time All-Conference player, a 1-time All-American for his career. He averaged nearly 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 47% from the field, and 31% from 3.
See, I automatically have questions like what conference? That's going to give the player
I was
away.
thinking the same thing.
That's why you
Because
just
you could be a 2-time Ivy League,
You could be.
and I'm probably not that interested.
And why is there no height and weight on this?
Because I don't want to give too much
Well, we got the
information
position, so we can kind of
away.
fill
I give
in
you
the
a
blank.
positional archetype.
Yeah, he's trying to keep it a mystery. So, I mean, this is really
I
tough.
mean, the difference between 6'8" and 6'10" is a lot.
If it matters for this guy, he's listed at 6'9".
Okay, that's better.
And we're going 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
I ain't doing that. Out of here.
Actually, take that back. He's not 6'10". He's listed at 6'11".
Okay,
Take that back.
6'11".
6'11".
Damn. See, I got to know conference, man. I mean, he's doing
Well,
this
but he
bunch.
Jay,
was-
what's your score? There's
He's
no review.
All-American.
Jay gave a 6.9 for this character. Earl with a 6. Very nice. And G. Bush with a 7.2.
No, that's a 4.
Oh, 4.2, sorry. 4.2.
Damn!
G. Bush not a fan of the
No.
first
No,
blind
dog.
resume candidate.
Yeah.
The second
I
blind
just-
resume candidate.
Can you now tell us what conference he played
He
for?
sound like he played in the Big West or something.
You can't
Yeah.
change your scores?
Yeah, I'm locked in at 6.9.
All right, this guy played in the ACC.
Oh, see, now I would.
See, but I can't give you too much.
I
don't
know,
want you to
I
use
know,
your
but-
preconceived connotation of who these
I
players
know,
could
because
be.
now I think I would definitely have given a higher score, but that's okay.
At the point of this is you just get the information.
Sure.
You can't have it all.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. All right, the second player was also a 5-star recruit coming out of college. He's 20 years old. He's a stretch 5. He transferred after his freshman year, so he played 1 season at one school. He played his second season at another. He made all-conference 1 time. His stats over 2 seasons, 11 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 54% from the floor, 34% from 3. Jay with the 4.7, G with the 4 flat, and Earl, I can't see Earl from over here.
It's
Earl, tilt
3.2.
towards me.
Or as I used to call it, water beer. If you know, you know.
Earl,
Young guys won't have any idea what
I
that
am
means.
not drafting nobody who scored 10 points. And you already transferred. That means you wasn't getting it done where you was at.
That's what I thought,
And you
too.
all conference 1 time?
And his 3-point shooting percentage, don't we have enough of those guys already?
Is this Evan Mobley? No, I'm playing.
I'm not
just
answering
joking.
nothing till the end.
I'm joking. I was joking. We're gonna keep him.
Next up, blind
We already had that
resume. Number 3 was a 2-star recruit. He's 23 years old. He's a big wing. 2-time All-Conference player for his career. Averaged 11.7 points, 3.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists, a 50-40, just shy of a 50-40 shooter.
I have one question.
He played in a Power 5 conference, if that helps.
No, that wasn't going to be my question. Is he an elite athlete?
Tested solid, I wouldn't say elite.
Okay.
$5.5 for Jay.
Double nickels.
Oh, you got told this. I can't see from that.
2.6.
2.6.
Wow.
2.6.
Hit that hard
And a
grading scale.
1.6.
Imani Bates is better, and the French judge gave him 1.6. 2-star recruit. He's
Yeah.
old as me right now.
Now, all of that being
Yeah,
said,
facts.
Mike, you know this as
Facts.
well as anyone. Those star recruits coming out, that doesn't always age well in both ways.
Yeah.
Been a lot of 5 stars who've been flops, and there have been some guys that were, I don't know, I can't say it 2, but I've seen some 3 stars that have really become not just
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald's a great example.
So he's a big wing, but only got 3 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Now that's over the course of a 4-year career. So remember, this is career averages.
Yeah. My guess is this guy blossomed in his last year in college. Blossomed.
He should. He get a Buckeye card. He's 65 and older. He early retirement age.
Who the hell stays in college 4 years anymore?
This dude 23. Dang, bro. He got the extra 6 years. Like, he got that COVID year.
Blind resume number 4.
We don't like these so far, McNuggets.
4-star recruit.
Okay.
18 years old, one of the youngest players in the draft. A combo guard. He played 1 year in college, so those stats are from his freshman season. He made the all-rookie team, and he averaged 14, 5, and 4 on 41% shooting.
All
32%
rookie, like, is that a conference or is that all rookie just like freshman, all freshman team?
That's like the all-freshman team. Yeah.
Oh.
Bro can't shoot.
Is that a 10 or a 1.0?
That's a 1.0.
1.0 from Jay.
My man's hitting 40%,
Earl with a 7. So that's Earl's high score
32%
so
from
far.
3. No.
And G Bush
Wait a
is
minute.
0.7.
What?
So here's my theory.
Mike's trying to hoodwink us into picking
No,
somebody.
so he can't shoot, right?
At all.
Right.
If they keep this core 4 together, you got to get somebody in here that can handle the rock and be that facilitator.
Oh, I know. All my
to
guys
let-
need to be able to shoot.
To let
It's a
everybody
shooter's
get
league.
on.
We got Craig Porter Jr.
It's a shooter's league. My guys have to be able to shoot.
We got Craig Porter Jr. Why I want him? And by the way, you noticed that he snuck this in here. These basketball dudes are sneaky. You got to
He's
watch
trying.
these.
Yeah.
When he put combo guard in, you already got 2 of those. That means he ain't got a position. Is he a point guard or a shooting guard? Why would I get another combo guard that can't score?
Because that's what the Cavs draft, man.
That's their philosophy.
No, Earl. We're doing who we want, not who we think they're going to take.
I don't want this guy.
I got a theory.
Combo guard?
Mike could try. He's hoodwinking.
How
us into
tall
saying
is this
guy's
guy?
Trash, and then
How
we're
tall is this guy, McNuggets?
6'2" tops.
No, he's listed at, I believe, 6'4".
Okay, so he's 6'2".
I
He's 6'2".
I-
He's listed at 6'4".
Yeah, he got that Bronny James disease.
He
All
definitely
of them.
6'2".
Bronny
all
James
of them.
6'4" to 6'1.5".
You know what we could do?
He's listed at 6'5" on his college list.
Sticking with my
Probably
6'2".
6'4",
I'm sticking with 6'2".
Yeah, he's out of here.
All right, next up, the 5th out of 10. This guy was a 3-star recruit.
Okay.
He's 21 years old. He's a big wing. Made the all-defensive team. 5.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 55% from the floor, 24% from 3. These guys have all been tied to the Cavs.
Don't give me
Double
this trash.
zeros from
Don't
Jay.
even give me this trash.
G says stop playing.
So
playing
can I
with me.
ask what he does well?
Stop playing. with
This
me.
one in particular is regarded as maybe the best defensive wing prospect to come out of the draft in the last 5 years.
Come on.
So he's
on.
he's worse
Come
than
on.
Isaac Okoro.
Come on. Come on, now.
And how tall is he?
Come on.
I can't give you everything, G, but he's tall.
He's 7 foot at least.
He's a big dude.
He's
Big
7
guy.
foot.
He better be great.
Bro,
So none of you guys are picking 5. So I'll tell you who 5 is because it's Ryan Dunn out of Virginia, 6'9".
Yeah, no.
Just so you know. So
Hard.
Ryan Dunn, off the
Hard no, now that I know
from
who
the
Hey,
Cavs, Ryan
Virginia be averaging like 40 points a game in the ACC, bro. They be just out just watching paint dry, just passing around the perimeter.
Dunn. 5.5 points might have been Virginia's
What?
second leading scorer last
You
year.
can get fouled. You can just get fouled hard and get to the line and get one putback, and that's
Is he
5
7
points.
foot?
No, he's like 6'9" with like a 7'5" wingspan.
But
That's crazy.
But hold on. But
He played the pick and roll guy and can't shoot. Like,
But
offensively, if he can ever develop.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
once again, I'm not saying draft him. If he could ever develop any semblance of offense, it's crazy good defense.
This is why I be mad at y'all, McNuggets.
I'm just giving y'all a blind resume. You be mad at me.
No, they got him.
I say he's not my choice.
This is fucking.
He ain't. Trust me.
These basketball dudes be having these linked characters, and you tell me every time I mention this man's name that I'm crazy. But this dude is averaging 2 points and 4 rebounds, and he's a first-round pick at 20, and Imani Bates can't play. Your talking points are terrible. These are, man, it's 21 in the G League, and you talking about these stiffs, 0.0s on the Richter scale. These are tremors. Stop it.
Gee, they did the last 2 draft classes combined. I think it was Jonathan Givony. Did the last 2 draft classes combined, because this draft class we talked about is not good. There's no star talent.
Clearly.
No, I'm getting back to the Imani Bates thing.
Can you imagine if that's the blind resume, the guy that gets his 23rd pick? 20th pick,
That's
and that's
crazy
the guy?
to me.
That's the guy?
All right, next up,
How do you sell him at the news conference?
How?
great defender. That's what you sell. There's no offense to sell.
We found a better defender than Evan Mobley in the draft, and we think that we have Kenny Atkinson here who can develop his offensive game, and we just feel very, very strongly about this pick right here. He's a nice guy, people person. He's going to come to the city, going to stay on the west side, probably Lakewood, stay out of trouble. It's a great draft pick.
I like what Mike said. If he can develop any semblance of an offensive game,
Seriously,
he's a find. Yeah. You know my line. If my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike.
That's a great line. All right, we got 5 more blind resumes to take a look at. Next up, this next player was a 4-star recruit, 19 years old. He's a big shooter.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
He's a big
shooter.
It doesn't mean he loves to shoot. It means he's a big and he's a shooter.
I'll take John Morant. No, I'm
He's
playing.
actually more
I'm
of a
playing.
wing guy, but he's a very tall.
Or are you thinking pawns? Is that what
No.
you're thinking?
Yeah.
No, he said he'll take John Morant. He a big
That was 2 things. You see how that went? That was cold. That was so he's a taller
John
shooter, right?
Morant.
Taller shooter.
Are you saying he likes to go to the shooting range?
Right.
He's a taller shooter, averaged 9 points, 5 boards, 35% from 3, 47% from the floor as a freshman.
What you're telling us with this exercise is we're going to get a stiff.
We're
John
not
Morant
getting
is
nobody.
insane.
We're not getting anybody.
John Morant.
Like
is
this might be a
insane.
drafted stash pick, and I thought that was over.
Like-
I thought.
God, no, we need somebody to contribute.
2-3 from Jay.
Yeah, there's one redeeming quality there. I don't even know what the hell.
I'll tell you who all these guys are at the end after we.
What
pick our
position
tape.
does he play?
He's a wing.
Okay.
G with the 2.1.
Power 5 conference?
Power 5.
Don't forget the
All right,
insignificant
I'm a
digits
2.3.
behind here.
I'm a
2.15, 3678.
And then
Repeating
John
decimal.
Morant.
John Morant is insane.
That's a 0 for Earl. So take out this player from Earl's blind dates.
That's
Number 7.
dang, there ain't
This guy
nobody.
is a 5-star big,
Okay.
19 years old. Didn't go to college. He played with Overtime Elite. Averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. 48-36% shooting splits with G League, with Overtime Elite. Athletic big is this guy's predominant archetype.
What's this? Played with Overtime Elite?
Yeah, so
That's
it's
the
the
league
You skip college and you go play with
the G
Overtime
League.
Elite,
It's
yeah.
a G
Isn't that
League.
your walk-up league that you play in on Thursdays?
No, I mean that's like there are some big time guys who play there. Scoot
School
Henderson played there.
School Henderson played
Yeah.
there. Jalen with what's his name?
So
Green?
those numbers are all in this league.
Yeah, he plays in the G League.
No,
That's not
Overtime
even a
and-
G League.
Overtime
That's
Elite.
like the Z League.
Not the G League, but he plays in like it's like they play like it's a level higher than high school and considered higher than college, but not really.
But lower
It's
than
not
the
the
G
G League Ignite Team G, but it's Overtime Elite.
Yeah.
2-2. G likes this guy. 6. Earl 6. Two guys like this. Jay, not so much. 2.2.
No.
I'll be out there
buying.
like Soldier Boy. I was out there like,
He's a 5-star recruit. He's 19 years
5
old.
stars.
That's
He's
going to be the guy they
athletic.
draft, by the way.
I mean, he might turn into something, but I'm not taking the 5.5 Desana Jop dude. Like, I'm not doing that no more.
No.
You're not going to love the next one. This is number 8. 20 years old, was a 3-star recruit, went one and done's a big wing. His father played pro basketball in Europe. This season at a Power 5 school, he averaged 7.6 points, 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 41% from 3.
I mean, this is messed up because those numbers against that level competition is not. I mean, what are we expecting? What are we doing? You can.
He's telling us.
Jay with the 1.7.
Yeah, he's telling us we're not going to get a good player.
I got 1.8, bro.
G. Bush with a 1.8. Earl with a 2.
This elevator music is perfect for this game.
Right, it's
very,
perfect.
very mundane
it's
and
just-
boring. Like a lot
It's
of
like,
these candidates.
man.
And by the way, this is the last draft choice that you control for the next whole 8 to 10 years.
Yes. Next up. Maybe
We have
you
the
guys will find this guy
2044 pick.
interesting.
This is crazy.
Blind resume number 9. This guy's a 4-star recruit.
Okay.
21, about to turn 22. All-American. He won his Conference Player of the Year. He was an All-Conference Player 3 times.
I know who this is.
17 points, 7 rebounds,
I think I know.
2 assists, 59% field goal, 36% 3. 8.8 for Jay. That's his high score so far.
Listen.
G. Bush with the 9.
I'm gonna take him and get up out of here. I don't know who he is.
I'm gonna take an
Earl
8.
with an 8.
Yeah.
This could be Baloo from Tailspin. I don't care who it is. Give me Baloo.
He'll
Yeah.
take those numbers.
I'll take that.
No,
Yeah.
that's a legitimate resume.
Right? Yeah. Well, I'll take 17 and 8.
3-time All-Conference Power 5.
No.
Mac.
Oh man, this dude go to Gonzaga.
You know what? It is Mac. It is
Not the Mac.
It's not
Is
the
it
Mac.
Gonzaga?
Not the Mac?
Big West? Whack.
Listen, you can't ask these
Is
questions
it the
yet.
Mac?
So it's a Gonzaga.
It's blind.
It's a Gonzaga.
I don't know who this is.
No, I don't. I
last
thought
one.
Okay, go ahead.
Last one, then we'll reveal. But so far, that guy,
Yeah, that
candidate
dude.
9, is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
favorite. The
Yep.
final player in our blind resume test. This guy's 21 years old, was a 4-star recruit. He played 1 year at a Power 5 conference. Then he played 1 year in the National Basketball League in New Zealand and Australia.
hell is
They're the
that?
same. It's where LaMelo Ball played. It's where Alexander Sarr, who's going to be the 1st or 2nd pick in the draft, played. These are his stats from the NBL. Not college, from the NBL. He averaged 5, 4, 2. This is stats from college, not the NBL. His college stats as a freshman. 5, 4, 2, 40%, 37, and he's a lanky, long wing.
No one will get this in this room. There's maybe one person in this room that might get this.
MJ Emerson.
Earl says MJ Emerson. Blutarski, if you know, you know.
You know, don't you?
And G is out. G is out.
No, I'm cool.
No one in here watched the movie Animal House?
Oh, yeah.
It's the greatest movie ever made.
College?
Yeah.
College?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Blutarski is a reference to when they were reading off the grade point averages. They saved John Belushi's character for last, Blutarski. 0.0. That's what I give that blind resume.
So you guys all were in unison.
Watch the movie if you haven't. You'll thank me later.
Great movie.
I'm cool with him.
Unbelievable.
So you guys were in unison. Candidate 9 was your favorite
Yeah.
player of them all.
He was the most accomplished.
Do you have an idea of who Candidate 9 is?
I thought, no, I don't. I have no idea now.
G, do you?
No.
Was
Earl,
that
do
Silver?
you?
Was that Silver?
It is not Silva. It is
It's-
Deron Holmes out of Dayton, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Who, by the way,
Listen,
is my second favorite candidate on the board for the Cavs in any capacity.
he won't be there.
There's a chance.
Yeah, I don't think
There's
he'll
a
be
chance.
there. If they pull the trigger on that, I would
I'll
even
be
move
great.
up a couple spots. I don't think they can.
I need him.
They have no
They
ass.
have nothing to trade
They have
up.
nothing to trade
I
up
would
for.
take him or Edie.
Wow.
Edie was not on this.
No, he obviously wasn't because we would have
You would
known.
have known. Yeah, Edie was not in here.
Yeah.
Some other.
I
sports-
thought you were going to try to sneak Bronny in there too.
No,
and you didn't.
He's not been tied. Listen, he's not been tied to the Cavs. He's only worked out for Phoenix and LA. That's it. He's turned down every other workout besides Phoenix and LA. So real quick on Holmes, athletic big.
Yes.
He developed a 3-point shot later. in
Dayton
his
might as well be
career.
a Power 5.
It's close, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
still-
I mean, I know their conference isn't a power conference, but they play up well.
Oh, they were top 25 all
They're
last season.
always in the top 25.
He gives you a little versatility. He's a mix between a big and a wing. Like, he gives you defensive versatility to guard anything above really.
Where did he
a
play
guard.
high school, Mike?
DeAndre Ayton School in Arizona.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason that he was an Ohio guy.
No, he was the Arizona Player of the Year. He was in the top 50 recruit, or just I think it was 52. Went to Dayton, spent all 4 years at Dayton, turned into a dominant big man at Dayton. Some other guys you guys liked. Jay and Earl, you guys like candidate 1. That was Kyle Filipowski out of Duke.
Yeah. When you
7
said
foot 6'11" shooter. You gave him a 6.9, Jay. Earl, you liked him with the 6. G, you were not so high.
I seen that Jay Billison. That's Danny Ferry right there.
yeah,
That's
I'm
Danny Ferry.
afraid it could be.
Danny Ferry can shoot though.
Jay, you also
Yeah,
like
that's about
candidate
it.
3. Earl and G were not fans of candidate 3. Candidate 3 is my favorite player in the entire draft for the Cavs. That's Tristan Da Silva.
Oh, wow.
Now,
I'm liking
he's a
both
guy-
of my I'd be happy with either one of those
Da
picks.
Silva was a 2-star recruit because he's from Germany. Did not
Which explains
participate
that.
in a ton of camps.
I figured there had to be a backstory to that.
Yeah, he came to college a year late, so he started as a 19-year-old, played all 4 years, blossomed this past season as a senior.
Yes.
Is where he had his best season.
And I
16
gotta
points,
say,
6 rebounds, 3 assists.
I like the European tie, too. I like him even more now that I know who he is.
He's my favorite guy if he's available for the Cavs. He won't be a star.
It's a shame.
He's
No, but they
damn
don't
solid.
need a
He's a damn
star.
solid guy.
They
He's a
need a
connector.
guy that
Yep.
can fit the suit,
It's-
a guy that can play the role that they need played, and he can do it.
It's a shame his rookie deal gonna be over when he's 32. Dude, I mean,
He's 22, right?
23,
23.
23 and
23?
3/4.
23. A guy that you guys did not like. None of you guys were a fan of Bubba Carrington, except Earl.
Bubba Carrington.
Earl gave him a 7. It's Carrington. Carrington, he goes by Bubba. Jay, you gave him a 1. G, you gave him a 0.7. In the last 3 ESPN mock drafts, this is the player they have mocked to the Cavs. So that's just ESPN. That's not all of them, but Bub Carrington is the guy who the Cavs have been the most mocked to in the most recent draft.
Do you like him, Mike?
Every
not
time I
Mike's
watch
kind of
him, I have a
player.
different opinion on him.
Why?
He's a ton of upside.
Yeah.
Ton of upside. He's 6'4". He was really good in the pull-up game. Pittsburgh's offense was not good. He was asked to essentially carry an offense as a freshman in the ACC, which is why his shot numbers don't look great. His percentage is super low. Why? Because a lot of times he was asked to do stuff with 4 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah,
and you got to
that's
take
not
a
a-
bunch of bad shots. So I think the numbers don't do him justice.
Yeah, but he's a 32% three-point shooter.
Yeah, but I'm always curious when you do that for lead players. If you were to take out the 2 or 3 threes a game they take with 4 seconds on the shot clock because they go iso ball, high pick and roll, and you just get a shot up late.
That's fair.
Does that make it 35% on
But
good
how many
looks?
of those
But
is he taking?
that's what I'm saying. I don't know the answer to him specifically, so I don't have a great opinion on Bub Carrington. He's just a guy that's super tight.
Mike, quickly, because I forgot to ask this earlier. How important is it to an organization that the coach is in place pre-draft? I felt like they were missing that boat when Kobe was like, yeah, we don't have to have him in here before the draft. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I want him in there.
I
want him in there with all-
absolutely,
yeah,
I need him in there.
want
And
him.
now they've got a little bit of time to get on the same page and to get this right.
And I hope both Atkinson and Borrego throughout the process were going through and scouting guys. So when they came in,
I'm
if it
sure
was
they
before,
were.
they come in. I like this guy, this guy, this
Oh,
guy.
I'm
this
sure
guy.
they were. Yeah.
A couple other guys. You guys all were a little bit intrigued by Tyler Smith, by the way. He's the one who played at Overtime Elite. He could be the highest ceiling guy available for the Cavs at number 20 if he's available. He has the potential to be a much better three-point shooter, 36%. Not bad as a 19-year-old already, but he has the potential. He was a guy you guys liked. A guy you guys really didn't like, Keyshawn George out of Miami, the 20-year-old 3-star recruit who went one and done, a surprising one and done. And last but not least, you guys were all out on Bobby Klintman, the NBL Wake Forest combo, more of a defensive guy, but you guys were all out on Bobby Klintman.
Hey,
so
Mike, what's
DeRon
the
Holmes, the guy that you guys can unanimously selected through blind resumes.
Man, if we get
That's your choice.
if Holmes is there at 20, he's a Cav.
Mike, what's the other dude name from Miami?
Keyshawn George, and is there another draft guy from Miami?
Yeah, dude is on the Canva. Actually, he's on the Canva for the segment. But I seen him. I seen him mock to the Cavs before we came down here. Can't think of his name.
Hey,
right
Steve, can you give a zoom on my cam on my phone? I got to show you guys something that's happening now downtown Cleveland.
The Superman set?
Happening now. Breaking news. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Emmy Award-winning Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Oh, Superman.
That's our
It's
first.
here.
That's our first glimpse of the actor. Now, it's possible that could be a stand-in double. I don't know. But this photo was snapped just a very short time ago, downtown Cleveland. That is they're filming the Genesis project, which is the next Superman. Allegedly, they haven't confirmed it, but I guess this does confirm that's exactly what they're shooting.
By the way, Jay, I got to turn that back around.
Oh, yeah, turn that back around.
That dude next to Superman, I got an outfit that look just like that.
Really?
Got that? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Almost looks like Michael Jackson.
It
from
is, man.
83.
Like, it's crazy, bro.
Earl, I have no idea who's on the Canva. I've never seen that person in my life. That's Kaishan George, dude.
now.
He just doesn't have his afro.
Got
That's
you.
dreads. Yeah, that's Kaishan George.
What's all this bling out here on the set? I'm blinding.
Yeah, so over the weekend we did a little something, and we're going to show you the exact moment it happened. So, Steve, we're going to play this as a cold open.
I have not seen any of this yet. So
Well, here you go.
This
This
is
was
all new to me.
Saturday night, and we did something pretty cool. Steve, let's hear it.
The nominees for Sports Interviewer Discussion are Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC, Browns vs. Jaguars Preview Show, WKYC, Countdown to Kickoff, WISH.
Sorry. And the winner goes to Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC, Browns vs. Jaguars preview show. Michael Lucas, Anthony Antonelli, Stephen Becker, Stephen Curran. Congratulations.
You're watching the PCC Airfoils Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. PCC Airfoils, keeping the engines of change moving forward. Booyah!
This is wild, man. Like, we're a little internet show. We want to thank Adam the Bull. We want to thank Steve back in Atlanta, Georgia. We want to thank Jay Crawford, who I'll give him a big shout out. Jay Crawford was the guy with the face on the situation, and he really lent his everything. Like, you know, he was on Cold Pizza, did his thing, and he led us with a nice runway and got us off the ground. So thanks for everybody as part of the show. Here you go, McNuggets.
And let's not give Jay too much credit tonight. Let's be honest. Like, we all love Jay Crawford, but we started as a little YouTube show, and now we're standing up here in Emmy. So thank you, guys. Appreciate it. What you don't see there is Betsy Kling got her Anchor of the Year award.
She showed me that at my house yesterday.
And
then
she shouted you out.
She gave you like 4 minutes uninterrupted of Jay Crawford. I wouldn't be here without him. And then we were a few awards later, and it just seemed like way too much of a Jay.
So that's what Mike was doing. Mike said, wait, we can't give Jay too much love here. So, Jay,
Cut that off.
Yeah.
I see you, McNuggets. I see you.
Jay, you're a big part of this, but you weren't even there, and you were talked about more than any person who was there during
Listen,
the show. So.
I've done my share of TV proms in my career.
TV
Bro, I bet you this is all of your last one, because you can only sit through one of those a decade.
It was.
Did they keep it under 5 hours?
Yeah, it was 3.5 this year.
See, I don't have
It was
time for
long.
I don't
It
have
was
time
very
for that
long.
in my life.
And I presented Jay, so it wasn't like I could just be up and out. So
No,
like,
you had to stick around.
So I was
and
there,
it's
like,
rude too.
Yeah,
when you win and you get a couple and you're walking out. I got
Deuces!
Jay. My categories are up. I'm out. You can't do that.
Right.
That's rude. And they lost me when they give an award for everything. There's like, how many categories, Steve? 70? At least. Like, the award for the best outdoor lighting on a Tuesday, on a windy day, not in a city named Cleveland goes to. I'm just like, bro.
They had some crazy categories, right?
There's a lot.
They had
And
crazy categories.
I have mad respect for all the winners in all the categories. I just can't give that much time of my life
With that
for something
being said,
like
though,
that.
Jay, and there are some crazy categories.
Really crazy categories.
we still won.
Discussion,
That's right.
Sports discussion show is a legitimate category,
It is.
and we beat a show from Indianapolis that won 2 awards right after us.
Yeah, they did.
Wish is a powerhouse. They're a
it feels
very
pretty damn
good station.
Feels pretty damn good.
They win. They do some incredible work around. And Mike, or Steve, I know you know this. Their Indy 500 productions are phenomenal. I would imagine that they took something home for their Indy 500 production.
They won for that.
They're very good. They win every year for that. Wish is just a very, very good station. THR is the Tegna station. That's our sister station in Indianapolis. They do great sports production. Just congratulations to all the guys that won this. I did have one question. How is Steve Becker's name not on that?
It is.
No, I mean on the category. I didn't see it.
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
I must have missed it.
No, it was. Becker
Okay.
was on there.
Okay, good. Now
it's a team award, though.
Now to the guys that work on the show but didn't enter, you can still post, enter, and get a trophy. You got a trophy? Was your name not on the entry?
Yeah.
And Adam's name not on the entry?
The 4 on the entry was me, Anthony, Becker, and Current.
Right. Okay. So what you can do is you can obviously the talent's a big part of the show. You can I don't know the process. Steve might be able to talk you guys through it.
Yeah, you already got it. Mine's on
You already filled it out.
Yeah, mine's on the way to the crib.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You gotta. There's
He said
something
he was ordering
that,
3 for each room of his house.
I got 3. I got 3 for coming for the living room. I got some on the mantelpiece.
no, bro. The whole idea is to win in multiple years. You're gonna get more of these.
I mean, I might die tomorrow, Jay. I wear light up belts with my name on it.
you're okay. You're
I'm gonna
not
put
going
this around my neck.
You're not going anywhere. But I mean, because what was this? This was really our second full year, right?
Second full year, correct.
So I mean, or wait a minute. No, it was our first full year because we launched in May.
Of 22. We did all 2023. Oh, so like the award was
Well, that's
for
what
our
it was
first full
for.
year.
It was for 2023.
And I will say, doing some little research, I cannot 100% confirm this. So
Yeah.
do not run to the bank and print T-shirts.
I
I am
wasn't going to.
97% sure in a TV chapter for the Emmys, we are the first YouTube show to win a TV Emmy.
I think that's correct.
So I got to ask you a question. Our entry, though, was a TV show. It has to be, right?
Doesn't have to be.
Well, we won in a TV category, though, correct?
We were nominated in a TV category last year, and we weren't on TV.
Not even the KYC stuff.
No.
Yeah. Now, so they don't have a distinction.
They have no
Streaming
idea.
show,
No idea.
television show.
Nope, there's no distinction.
Steve, do you know? I don't follow this nearly like I used to. Once upon a time, I was really into it. I don't know that I would think there would have to be a streaming show that won an Emmy, Mike, along the way.
Couldn't find it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really a hard thing to search for because if you try to find us, you might not know that was the case for us.
Hey, I couldn't find it, so I'm going to the bank with the
I'd
first.
print the T-shirt.
Hey,
You know
listen,
what? You're right.
what
Print
you-
the damn T-shirt.
Oh, you're too late. I already got them out. It's one right along the Kool-Aid Mafia
Steve,
shirt. Maybe make sure you go check it out.
How much money does this event raise for the Natus, for our chapter? Any idea? Because you've been involved in this. I think you enter like 20 a year, don't you? Or used to?
Well, they also have to buy the trophies and all that kind of stuff and have the banquet and judging and stuff. So the money kind of helps justify the chapter to actually have the awards because it costs money too.
Yeah, I mean the number of entries, and an entry isn't cheap, is it?
It's over $100.
Yeah, okay. I remember when they were 100, a flat even 100. But wow, Earl, you ever thought that was going to happen?
I think this is like super, super cool. I think that we've earned it. I think we've been good
question.
stewards over our craft. I think that, everything that we set out to accomplish, we're doing so. We're one of a kind. We're the first to really kind of have this type of wave on this type of platform.
Yeah.
I think it's an honor and a blessing to be a part of this team, to be able to collab with the production, to grow my craft, to grow my career. To the fans that watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, that support us, that support all the spinoff shows. We don't always see eye to eye with everything, but I love y'all. We really, really wouldn't be able to continue to do this without y'all support, all the views, all the subscriptions, everything, man. Shout out to y'all. This is for y'all as well. Like, this is dope. It made me feel damn good about all the work.
Hey, man, when we started this thing, they gave us a 6-month runway. A lot of people on here on this staff and panel, some people may have not won anything ever in their life, right? And so to us, it feels good because, we didn't have very much fanfare coming into it. We had 6 months to do what we was going to do. I quit my job. I didn't have health insurance. I didn't have anything. And I just said, I'm going to just go for it.
You thought the call to invite you on was a prank.
I thought it was a prank. I didn't even know. So, and then we've had a lot of things that helped us out, we were going through mergers and buyouts and we had meeting after meeting and we said, you know what, we're going to stick tight together and we're going to do our thing.
And there it is.
And this is the fruits of their labor. Congratulations,
I'll put a bow on it by saying earlier in the program I mentioned that we all played sports. We all know this, that any winning team has to have the most important ingredient, chemistry. I knew we had it.
Super chats, don't worry.
One rehearsal. I knew we had the chemistry needed to be a winning team. Because I've been on teams that were great but not winning. And oftentimes the one missing element was the chemistry. The first time we were all together in a studio and we did one test show, one test segment, I immediately said, oh, this is going to work.
It is. Thank you guys. We love you guys. Super chats real quick. Halim Youssef said they didn't hire the guy you guys thought, and now we're going to take a dump on him. Calm down. You're assuming and making up things. Ahmed Fadhala says, love the show. When are we getting some new merch, tees, hoodies, hats, mugs, long sleeves, polos? I'm here for all of it. Let's go, Guardians. Maybe we could talk to Steve Becker about getting some updated merch, because we haven't done merch since the initial tees. And last but not least, Joshua Hessler says, UCSS Fire is always best show on YouTube. Congrats on the Emmy. You put in the work and put out great content every day. Some much-deserved recognition. We appreciate that. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in overtime.
G-Bush, boss move, put it on as a hood ornament.
That'd be crazy.
Take it to the shop.